Broadcasting from their world headquarters in Texas, it's the Arcade Repair Tips Live Show, the show that discusses arcade repair, restoration, news, and more. Now, here are your hosts, Tim and Jonathan.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 51 of the Arcade Repair Tips Live Show for May 2021. My name is Jonathan Leung. I'm the producer, director, and editor of the Arcade Repair Tips video series. And joining me today, as always, is Mr. Arcade Repair Tips himself, Tim Peterson. Tim, how you doing?
I am running like a marathon, or no, like a sprinter today.
Okay, well, it looks like we're having a little problems with the stream. It's taking just a second here. I'm going to make sure all my settings are right if you guys will give us a second. But we are so glad to have y'all here today, of course, to do the show. We're going to be covering a lot of different questions and topics, right, Tim, as always. So hopefully you guys will be here to enjoy all of that. I think the stream health will correct itself as we go on, Tim. It looks like it's a little rough right now, but hopefully as we work into the show, it will get better. But Tim, before we get into the questions and the discussion and the news for this month, how are you doing? What's going on with you?
Oh, just, you ever heard the expression burning candles at both ends? I'm burning them at both ends with about 3 or 4 going in the middle. It feels that way, but in a good way. You know, I've got, you ever got busy, but in a good way? It's like things are just a busy time. And it's about time, I think, stuff's going to slow down. It ramps back up again. But overall, doing great and ready to talk about some games, something fun besides my work, or something.
Absolutely. I understand that, Tim. Well, if you guys were tuned in before we started, I was streaming a little bit of the Arcade 1-Up pinball machine, Tim. I was able to get my Attack from Mars in from Best Buy, which is where we ordered it from, and been playing with it. And you probably saw it. Like I said, if you watched the stream, you probably saw a little bit of that. You saw a little bit of the playing and things. So we'll give a full review or a mini review later on in the show, and maybe I'll stream a little bit more for you guys so you can see it. But Tim, it's a cool little package, and we'll talk a little bit more about exactly what all is included in that, like I said, later on in the show. Tim, you have anything to tease for us as we continue on here?
Let's see, what can I tease? I don't know. I'm kind of looking forward to the after show. Hadn't even had much time to watch anything, but the stuff I have watched have been very interesting. You saw the list, John. Have you seen most of the shows that I'm going to talk about?
I have seen none of the shows that you've talked about, so I'm very curious to see exactly what you come up with.
Good. I like a good documentary and stuff, so I've got some good ones to talk about later.
Sounds good. Well, Tim, let me go ahead and go over to the live chat real quick. And it looks like we have several people here tonight. So, like I said, hopefully the stream is good for you guys. We're getting some poor statuses, but hopefully that will get better as the show goes on. But we have, let's see, AMV a Yane fan is here, Tim. We have, it looks like Danilo Jimenez, it looks like. And we've got the Real Hammer Billy Lee is here. He says, hey, hey.
Hey, Bill.
Bobby Broadway is here, Tim, and let's see. Now, Danilo Jimenez says, can I remove the paint on my CRT neck and replace the paint? Tim, I think he's talking about the silicone, if I'm not mistaken. So he's wondering if he can remove that, and will it work without that?
Well, of course it will work without it, and you can remove it, but it's probably there for a reason to keep the settings from moving. So it may get out of alignment if he does, or if it's not having a problem right now, I would definitely leave it alone.
Sounds good. So he may be trying to remove the neck, maybe for a cap kit or something like that, Tim. So, sometimes when you do that, if you have that silicone on there, it makes it really tough to take off.
Yeah, you kind of have to pull that off, but it's okay to do that. I was thinking more about the convergence ring. Sometimes I'll see those silicone in, but you're right. Sometimes they do the neck so that when you move a game, the neck board doesn't fall off, but if he needs to take it off, you just have to give it a good tug sometimes.
Sounds good. Let's see who else we have here, Tim. We have Josh B here. He says it's been several months since he's made a live show, and he's been hanging it up on the podcast. That's good. Now, guys, we do live stream the live show on the podcast, or we don't live stream it, excuse me. We do broadcast the show on the podcast after the live show, so usually the day after we try to get those out. So even if you don't have time to watch it here on YouTube, you can listen to it on the podcast feed. Hopefully you're doing that. We don't have the after show there, Tim. A lot of people know that, but you can listen to the main show there, which is really great. Let's see who else we have. Adam James Valentine is here. Travis McKinney is here. Tim, he has a question. He says he has a diagonal black area in the upper right-hand corner of his Pac-Man and some color bleeding. Most worried about the black area taking over. Tim, what can he do about this black area?
Well, it sounds like it's starting to have a little fold over or something, and usually a cap kit resolves that.
Yeah, we've seen, Tim, we've covered a lot of questions where, we've got these little black areas in certain portions of our monitor picture, and cap kits are a very good solve for that, and like you mentioned, it may even be fold over to a certain extent, and so a cap kit may be the place to start for you. And that was for Travis there. Let's see who else we have here, Tim. We've got the Rexer Show is here. He missed the Tech from Mars stream. We were just having fun. I'll stream a little bit more here in a little bit, Tim, and hopefully you guys can see that. Let's see. And Josh B says the new interview podcast has been really great too. Thank you. And Tim, have you been listening to any of the interviews podcasts?
No.
Okay, so for those of you who have not, we've had 3 of them now, and the first
I've heard one.
you've heard one, so there you go. But the first one we did Paul Jure, who's a monitor technician. The second one we did the guys from Arcadia Retrocade in Arkansas, and then for the third one, I'll go ahead and throw it up here, Tim, because it's a good segue. We did Jordan Dorrington, who is one of the high score. What's the word? Record holders in Galaga. So he used to hold the top score. Now he holds like the second highest score. But it was really great to talk to Jordan. Tim, I've actually been Facebook friends with Jordan for a long time, and we've never actually talked. But I accepted it because I knew who he was. So I accepted the friend request. But it was really fun to talk with Jordan and get some insights and get some of his thoughts about what it's like to go after a world record. And Tim, he also announced on the show that he was he was almost about to obtain a Donkey Kong cabinet, and he was going to try to go for the high score on that as well. So he continues to pursue high scores, not just in Galaga, Tim, but in several different games. So fun. It really was a fun chat, and Jordan told me during the interview, Tim, that his wife used to be an arcade manager, and I said, well, it looks like I need to interview her as well, right? Because we always love people who used to be arcade managers. So hopefully we can have him and her on the podcast at some point. But it's really fun to do the interviews, Tim, because I get to talk to people that love arcade games as much as we do, and I really think that's really why it's so fun. So.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing that one myself. Did you rub it in that you usually beat me really bad in Galaga?
Well, you're talking to a guy that can hit like 20 million, Tim, and I'm close to like 100,000 at my best. So and I told him that, and he didn't really go into tips too much, Tim, but you can see a lot of tip videos and things if you go to search for Jordan on like YouTube and things. He's got videos out there that people have recorded of him playing. So if you want to see that, but it's really fun stuff, Tim, and I hope you guys check it out for sure.
Sounds interesting.
YouTube Punk is here. He says, howdy, Tim.
Hello.
So, let's see. We do have one from Adam here. He says, hope you can tell me why my screen goes in and out on my point blank machine. I have cleaned the terminals, worked after I moved the machine 2 meters, and it's doing it again. So, Adam, your question is actually, I believe, in the outline tonight. So we're going to save our thoughts for that. We're going to get to that here in a bit. Let's see. We have Danilo Jimenez, again, says he wants to remove the paint on his neck as it is a D9400, and the paint is starting to rot. I don't want to make it short circuit with the coils inside the yoke. And Tim, I think like we said, you should be able to safely remove that and still, when he says paint, I'm pretty sure he's talking about silicone here, and the monitor will still work, correct?
Yeah.
So there we go. Let's see. Okay, I think we're all caught up. Are we all caught up? I'm still getting some errors from YouTube, guys, but it looks like the stream is okay. So hopefully the audio will at least come across, if nothing else. And I'm hoping that the stream quality will improve as we go on. I don't know. Sometimes, Tim, my internet connection can be flaky. So hopefully we can continue to do that. If for some reason the stream doesn't come out well, guys, we'll upload it. We always record and stream at the same time, so we always have a recording of it. So if for some reason, we get some issues or something like that with the stream, you can let us know and we'll upload the actual copy. But Tim, I think with all of that out of the way, the live chat caught up, and my little promo for the Interviews podcast, I think it is time to move into the questions. So, Tim, the first one we have is from Adam. And Adam writes, hi, would you know why it looks like the game screen goes in and out, like off and on my Point Blank arcade game? You can press the play button and the sound works. You can even shoot, but can't see the screen as it is going in and out. Cheers. Thanks for your help. And Tim, we get to Adam's question first. Look at this. So this
right.
is Adam. Adam, you're in the live chat tonight, so we actually are getting to yours first, which is pretty awesome. So, and Tim, we usually do these in the order that we receive them, not always. Sometimes they come in like latest to oldest, oldest to latest. I mean, it just depends on what kind of mood I'm in whenever I'm pulling the questions. But let's talk about Adam's question here with the point blank. It sounds like his screen is going in and out, Tim, and I think he gave us a little update that said he cleaned the terminals and it worked for a little bit, and then he moved it like 2 meters and it's starting to short circuit even again. So what do you think is going on with the monitor on Adam's point blank arcade game?
Well, it sounds like it's on the verge of going towards playing blind, which could be a multitude of things, but we cover that in our video. But some of the areas to start, or of course what he did, the connections, that would be a good place to start. Always start at power, so you want to make sure that you are getting the correct voltage and all your good connections to the monitor itself. Also make sure that your power supply is not what's failing, and your monitor is just a byproduct of it failing if its AC is coming from that. When you say it fails, I guess my question would be, does the monitor just kind of go to a green screen, or does it completely, I think he said it went black, didn't he?
Yes, it does.
So
it goes black.
It goes out. And that could be something just as simple as a cold solder joint, or it could need a new flyback, so it's going to take a little patience with this one. You could always start with a cap kit to make sure that it's not a cap that's failing right off the bat and shutting down in the the voltage area or the B plus area of your monitor. Then we'll just have to go from there. Once you do a cap kit, then it still does it. Then we go on kind of to the next thing. And watching our video really should help him on that.
Sounds good, Tim. Did you have anything else?
No. Go
okay.
ahead.
Yeah, and I think you pretty much summed up exactly what I put on the slide here for Adam. So I'm just going to put this up on the screen. So it sounds like you're on the verge of having a game that's playing blind, Adam. So the fact that it's going in and out is kind of, it's kind of like it's still playing. It comes in and then it goes away, comes and goes away. So you're kind of on this kind of middle plane, maybe really close to getting to a playing blind state. So we do have a video, Tim, that you mentioned on troubleshooting games that are playing blind, and this definitely applies to you, Adam. You want to check out that video for sure. But like Tim mentioned, playing blind issues are usually caused by a problem in your high voltage section of your monitor. So that could be caps, that could be flyback, horizontal output transistors, Tim, anything else, any other components in the high voltage area of your monitor. And so, you definitely want to check that. But the fact that you've got a monitor that is sort of working, makes us think that it may just be, like Tim mentioned, a cold, cracked, or broken solder joint somewhere. So you may just want to take out the chassis and just touch up all the solder on all of the different points on the chassis. And Tim, we've mentioned this a lot when we talk about Michael, because this is the first thing Michael does as a monitor repair technician whenever he works on a game. He takes it out and then he immediately touches up the solder on all the points. Because a cold or cracked solder joint could be exactly why it's coming in and out. You move it a little bit, that cold solder joint disconnects for a second, picture goes out. You move it a different way, cold solder joint makes a connection, and then it comes back. So touching up the solder, very, very, very important. And Tim, now, like you mentioned, it could be components going out, though. I mean, it could be that solder is fine, components are going out. In that case, you may want to start with a cap kit. And Tim, I think we both recommend that he start with a cap kit that includes the filter cap as well. If he has a monitor that has the filter caps, make sure you get those, because those are typically in the power supply section. So get a cap kit for your monitor. If you need help identifying your monitor, let us know. We'll try to help you out with that. And then again, can't stress this enough, troubleshooting games that are playing blind is a great video and post that you may check out as well, because it pretty much covers exactly what your issue is. Tim, do you have anything else for Adam here before we continue?
No, he's in the live chat.
Yes,
right?
He is. Adam James Valentine, Tim, is in the live chat. So if there's anything you want to say to him directly.
Oh, well, Adam, thanks for writing your question. If you understood most of that and you're ready to tackle that, we'll move on. But if you have any follow-up questions, even later throughout the show, please ask them in the live chat, and Jonathan will read those. We'll try to tackle those too.
Absolutely. So, Adam, hopefully answers your question, and good luck getting that point blank up and running. In fact, if you want to go ahead and try the stuff that we mentioned and then get back with us later on in the show, we can do that too, right, Tim?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So... Okay, Adam. So we will continue on here. Now, Tim, we have one from Danny that's in the live chat real quick. He says, my 1999 Golden Tee board burnt up, and I have a 1997 Golden Tee board that works. Can I change the ROMs over? Tim, do you know that off the top of your head?
I don't think you can do a ROM swap. You could definitely do a board swap, but maybe 99, 97, there was a lot of changes that I know the 2000s probably wouldn't
So
work.
97, I can't remember. That may be on the verge, because I know that 98, 99, 2K, and Golden Tee Classic all use the same board set. I'm not sure if 97 is in that same grouping or not off the top of my head. So 98, 99, 2000, and Classic do.
Yeah, Incredible Technology should be able to email them and they would tell them.
Yeah, or, I mean, there's probably, if you look up the manuals, you could probably tell. To be honest with you, I'm not sure, though, if it's in the same category or not, Danny. We'd have to look it up, probably. But if the board sets are physically the same, then it should be no problem just swapping out the ROMs. Tim, pretty much the only differences between 98 and Classic are the courses. I mean, the board sets themselves are pretty much the same, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it wasn't until the 2000s when they really started changing up.
2001, well, Golden Tee 4, I think is what we,
Yeah.
that's kind of where things changed from going to more of a board-based to more of a computer-based system. But anything before 4, 97, I think, may be on that same board set. But like again, I don't know off the top of my head, so we'd have to do some research on that, Danny. But if we find out, we'll let you know. Or if you do a search and find out, let us know. We'd love to know, because Tim, I think that is a good question. A lot of people may want to upgrade their old board sets to a different version, and if you could do that easily, it'd definitely be a good thing to do, right? You get tired of the same old courses over and over again.
I just wonder if he could just swap the boards. Was there something specifically wrong with that board that he can't just swap
Well,
them?
I'm sure he could, but maybe he wants to keep the 99 courses. You know what I'm saying? So, like, maybe he likes those courses better than he likes the 97 courses. I don't know. Yeah, so, I mean, if that's the case, because, I mean, I have certain courses that I prefer on different versions of the game, and so, you know, you may just like those courses better than others. So if that's the case, I mean, like I said, as long as the boards are compatible, a ROM swap should work. And like I said, Tim, I know 98 through 2K are pretty close, but 97, I'm not sure about that one. So definitely something to take a look at. Let's see. Thomas says, guys, thanks for literally keeping arcade hardware alive. You're welcome. So we try our best. We're just trying to help people fix their games. We want to see more games out there playable, right, Tim?
Yeah.
So that's all we're trying to do here, guys. We're just trying to help you guys and everybody else fix their games. We want to see working games across the board, and we want you guys to be able to play your games, because the whole point of fixing them, Tim.
That's the point.
That is correct. See, look at that. I didn't even coordinate it. Tim just knows. So Josh B says we're doing the Lord's work, Tim. So maybe feels like that sometimes. We definitely get paid the same for sure. But anyway, guys, I think we're going to continue on here in the outline. And the next one, Tim, we have is from Regzer Show, and he's also in the live chat tonight. So it's always good to have these guys here. But Tim, I kind of saved this one for you just because I felt like you're more experienced in this particular part of arcade repair. But he says, any thoughts on what I should do with this coin door on my Robocop to get it working and looking good? Can I just buy a whole new door with mechs to assure they work, or is that too expensive? Also, the key locks are missing. I'd like to replace both. What size or type do I get? And Tim, he did send some pictures of his coin door on his Robocop, and if you've got the outline open, you can see them, and I'm showing them to all the people who are in the live chat and who are joining us this evening. So you can see there, Tim, pretty standard coin door. Nothing, like I said, pretty common, especially on, it seems like Williams style games for sure. But we also see them in, just generic Dymo cabinets and other things as well, correct?
Yeah.
So, I mean, which way should Regzer Show go here? Should he go with the restoration route, or should he go with the replacement route?
Well, you can replace it, so you might look at the cost and just decide. Personally, first thing when I saw it was I thought, well, yeah, I would just repaint and do this one. Usually it's better if you take everything off, like take the door off, take the wires off, take the mechs off, get it down to just the door. Then you can sand it and repaint it, or prime and repaint it. That will make a world of difference. You can go to like Hap or Betson, or probably a ton of places now, and get just a coin Inserts themselves, the plastic pieces are red or orange or fluorescent yellow. You can change the color or whatever you want. You might want to replace those. They really will make it look like new. I remember back when I worked at Chuck E. Cheese, sometimes we would buy those and buy like 10 or 15 of them and just go around and replace those because they get cracked and they just look dull. And new lights behind those LEDs really make it look good. So those are some steps that I would do. It's basically a cost versus time. It definitely is a labor of love kind of deal on it. You will save money. It won't cost you much to fix that, but it will take a couple of hours even if you're good and fast. And by the time you take everything off, put it all back together. We used to, when we took some games to Pinball Festival in particular before, a lot of people were impressed when they opened up the coin doors and saw how clean, because a lot of people could do the outside, but we always would do the inside intricate parts of it. So, it just depends, but slapping a new one on there and being done in 10 minutes versus a couple hours of painting and sanding, it's just kind of whatever you're comfortable with or kind of what meets your budget.
So, Tim, something I didn't put on the slide, but something I was going to ask you about, because I think you've done this before with some parts. Powder coating. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of powder coating. Also, if you have access to a sandblaster, just to get a lot of that, it doesn't look too rusty, but we've had some horrible parts that have come back. Again, though, by the time you took it to a powder coater, had it done, you're probably looking at $100 or more. So would you be better off by buying a new one? At that point, maybe so. So unless it's just, one of those games, it's probably one of those games that are in his collection. He's trying to, but it doesn't, I don't know that it's going to have the value of, say, a rare, like a Major Havoc or something you would really want to spend that kind of money knowing that if you ever went to sell it, you would get it back, because you probably wouldn't if you powder coated it.
Right, that would be more of, I'm restoring this game, I want it to be original, and I'm going to keep it forever kind of thing.
You're right. Versus, maybe I'm going to flip this game, and I just want to throw some spray paint on there, and it probably wouldn't bring any less.
Sure, I understand. Okay. So I think that's a great breakdown, Tim, of exactly what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the slide up here. So from the pictures, it looks like this coin door could be refurbished quite easily, like Tim mentioned. Repaint, replace the coin reject buttons and bezels, and add some coin mechs, and you should be able to make it close to new, Tim, right? I mean, that's pretty much all he has to do.
Yeah.
Now,
the outside bezel is an important part, too, that really, just a new one, they're cheap, and they really will make it look better.
Agreed. Yes, you can buy a new coin door, but it'll be sort of expensive. I think it runs, Tim, with shipping, probably close to $100, a little less than that. And I have a link here that I also put down below in the show notes to Twisted Quarter, Tim. And we'll talk about Twisted Quarter here in a bit. We should mention that. We're going to talk about them. But we really like Twisted Quarter, so you can check out what their coin door cost. And with shipping, I think you're going to be close to 100, maybe a little under. But that's what you're looking at for like a new one. As far as the locks go, Tim, there's several arcade parts distributors that will sell those replacement locks. And Tim, I think that's a 7/8 inch, correct?
Yes, it's 7.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the common one. And I think that's what's found on most of those coin doors like that. And Bob Roberts has a really great breakdown of cam locks, Tim, on his website. We have a link here so you can see it. And then you can purchase the coin locks at Twisted Quarter. Again, Tim, we love using Twisted Quarter. And there's a purchase link down below for that as well. So, I mean, but I think those are 7/8 locks. That's pretty much a common size for all the coin door locks. And so if it's different, there's only like 3 sizes, right, Tim?
Yeah.
There's only like 3 sizes of cam lock that arcade games use.
You want the middle one. For the remote standards, or like the middle one, gosh, it's like I should know this by heart. The 1 7/8 or something is really long. It doesn't fit most game applications,
right.
And then the 3/4 inch one's too short. It's like 1 1/8 or something like that off top of my head. The middle size.
Right, exactly. So, for what it's worth, Tim, we have a little bit of feedback from the live chat, and it sounds like they agree with you to go with the refurbishment route. Bobby Broadway says, replace the missing red coin cover and clean it is what I would do. Dragon Punch
Yeah.
Dave says, I use hammered spray paint from Rust-Oleum for a nice finish on my coin door restoration, and it's
Yeah.
held up well. So,
Right.
yeah, any kind of paint besides that, Tim, that you recommend?
Well, I would definitely recommend a glossier finish or something, but probably not a water base. I would go ahead and get an enamel so that it adheres really good and it just will stay and last long. Of course, not going to get it hit as much at home, but that hammer dip paint that he mentioned is a great idea.
Yeah, hammered spray paint from Rust-Oleum.
Yeah. That's something with a little texture to it. I wouldn't go with a flat or nothing on it.
Sounds good. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, and Razor Show says, thanks, guys. Shouldn't be too difficult to refurbish. Yeah, and it should be a pretty simple process. And like Tim mentioned, you really want to remove all the hardware off there first. So take off the coin bezels and the inserts and all that kind of stuff. And strip the, take off the little brackets that hold the coin mechs in. And then kind of just strip it for just the coin door, and then paint it just like that, and then put it all back on after it's dried. And then like we mentioned, replace the bezels and the coin doors if you can, or and the coin inserts if you can, because it will give it more of a pop for sure. Tim, anything else for Rexer Show before we move on?
No, but thanks. You always, every time you say it, I always think there's got to be a story behind that name, unless is Rexer part of your name?
I don't know. That's a good question. He's here in the live chat, Tim. So
I'm just curious. Got to ask my own question.
There you go.
Thank you for being such. He's been with us a long time.
That's right.
Always recognize his name.
So anyway, well, thanks for writing in that question, and good luck with your restoration. Somebody, he does videos too, Tim, and so maybe we'll get to see a video of his restoration. So.
Yeah, for sure, take some video or picture of it. Maybe we could update that in one of the future live shows.
Sounds good. So, Razor Show hopefully answers your question, and good luck with the restoration on your coin door for that Robocop. So, okay, let's see. YouTube Punk says, did they bring up Mike's Arcade yet? We're getting to that. We'll talk about Mike's Arcade and Twisted Quarter at the in the discussion section of the show. Teaser. So, if you hang on for that, we'll do it then. And it looks like we're caught up on everything else, Tim. So we will continue on in our outline, guys. And this question is from Vodkago Balski. Is that how I say it? Vodka Gobalski. Vodka Gobalski. Yeah. Am I good?
I think so.
It must have like Russian or something. I don't know. Just guessing. But I'll read the question here. I'm not sure if you're still checking comments on your old videos, but it's a long shot. I recently just recapped my monitor, and after plugging all the cables back in, the monitor is not coming on. It doesn't even seem to be receiving power of any sort. The screen doesn't come on at all. The arcade is powering on, and the game is turning on. I can get audio from the game, but the monitor doesn't come on at all. What should I do to first start debugging the issue? The last resort is obviously to take out the PCB and examine all the soldering of the recap. I'm wondering if there's anything I can do before resorting to that. Now, Tim, this is a tough one because he did a cap kit on it, right? And it sounds like, from the way Vodka Gobalski is saying it, it was working before the cap kit, and now it's not. And so, you know what I did? I sent this over to our resident monitor repair guy, Michael. And so here is a little segment we like to call Michael's Minute. So Vodka Gobalski, hopefully he can get to your question. So here we go.
Welcome back, everybody. So this month we have Vodka Gobalski. I believe I said that right. He had left a message on one of the videos on YouTube. He did a complete cap kit on his monitor, got everything installed back, all the cables plugged back in, and the monitor is completely dead. He says the game comes on, hears sound, but the monitor isn't lighting up or anything like that. He's asking what you could do to troubleshoot it without just taking the PCB or the monitor back out of the game. Usually, I mean, the only thing you can do without taking the chassis out is maybe make sure all your cables are plugged in the right places, and also they're making good contact. Take a voltmeter and make sure you're getting the right power up to the monitor. But how those monitors set in there, it's going to be real hard to do any troubleshooting without actually taking it out. What could cause that, if it isn't a connection issue, is maybe a cap put in backwards or a bridge solder connection somewhere that when you soldered in the new caps, the solder actually bridged over to something that it wasn't supposed to. I'm guilty of it. I've seen it a lot of times. That would be my first guess. But I hope this helped. But I would love to hear an update and see what he has checked or see if he's got it going. And if not, maybe we can help him a little bit further. But until next month, take care, everybody. We'll see you later.
Okay, Tim, so there was Michael's input. We want to thank Michael for doing those videos. Tim, he's on the road, and so you can see he doesn't have his nice digs like he has at his house where he's got all the cool video game paraphernalia around, because Michael's a big video game fan, guys. I know you guys probably know that, but he at his house, he has all that great stuff that he has all around, but obviously when he's on the road, doesn't have that. We still appreciate Michael for giving his input on that. Now, Tim, like Michael mentioned, there's not a whole lot of troubleshooting you can do without taking the monitor out. I think that Vodka Gobalski was hoping that he could just solve this problem without taking the monitor out. With that said, though, he does need to double check all of his connections, Tim, because as we know, when you take a chassis out and you put it back in, sometimes you forget to plug some stuff in.
Right.
So I mean that is definitely one area. What'd you say?
Or you put a cap in backwards or something else like that. It's very common.
Absolutely. And so, for more than likely, though, he's going to have to pull the chassis back out. And I think that's pretty much what Michael said as well, Tim, is that, I mean, it's as nice as it would be for it to just be like some, just a certain little connection issue or something like that. I think we will have to actually pull the chassis out to take a look at it. So, Tim, I'm going to go ahead and put the slide up, which kind of summarizes what Michael said. Like we said, there's not a lot of troubleshooting you can do without taking the chassis back out of the cabinet. With that said, you should be able to check that all the wiring is connected properly and that the monitor is getting good voltage, using a multimeter, of course, Tim, without needing to remove it. And guys, like we mentioned, there's a lot of different connections that happen whenever you remove a chassis and put it back in. So make sure that you've connected everything properly. The yoke wires got connected, Tim. The power got connected. The input wires got connected. The ground wires got connected. Make sure all that stuff is connected properly, because if any of that is left disconnected, obviously you're going to get a blank screen, right? And Tim, something that you mentioned, I think last show, and it needs to be said again, you may have a monitor chassis that has 2 places to plug in yoke wires, correct?
Yeah.
So make sure you're plugging it into the right set of yoke wires. Very important. So, I mean, that happens. But beyond that, Tim, probably going to have to remove the chassis again in order to fix the issue. It's possible you have a bad or backwards cap, Tim. It happens, right? I mean, and especially, Tim, as we know, some of the silk screening on some of these chassis is wrong, right? And so you really, whenever I do a cap kit, Tim, I try to put the caps in the way that they were going initially instead of following the silk screening, especially if it's one that I know was working before, right?
Right.
So, because the silk screening has been wrong. Go ahead.
Yeah, also, John, is that that is a picture from him of his
No,
game?
that's a picture of our video on troubleshooting games that are playing blind.
That's what I thought. You know, he could have a monitor that he like a tri-sync or something, and could have accidentally just moving stuff, got it off the wrong, on the wrong thing, like a VGA or something that he doesn't have.
Right, so you're talking about its setting. Make sure that you've got it set to the correct mode, especially if it's tri-sync, right?
If it is a newer and a tri-sync.
There you go. Now, another thing that Michael mentioned, Tim, is a bridge solder joint. And this is very common, guys, especially if you haven't done a lot of cap kits, if your soldering skills are kind of still at the beginner level, then you may have accidentally bridged a solder joint. Happened to us, Tim. We've done the same thing.
Yeah,
Not saying that it's more than once. So if that's the case, you'll need to take it out. You'll need to remove the solder typically from those joints and make sure that you hit them both individually. So check that out. And check out any components that are on the high voltage line. And Tim, just like we were talking about with Adam's question earlier, this is more of a playing blind style issue. So if all of that stuff checks out, if all of the capacitors look like they're in the correct positions, and then there's no bridge solder joints, and there's no like missed solder joints, Tim, because sometimes you do that too, you'll miss a solder joint, then you may actually have component failure. And at that point, you probably need to check out our video on troubleshooting games that are playing blind. Tim, do you have anything to add to what Michael said for Vodka Gobalski?
No, I don't even think I can pronounce his name anymore.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, good thing you don't, Tim. I'll try to do my best. But Vodka Gobalski, hopefully that answers your question. And good luck with your monitor. If you need any additional help with it, please let us know. We'll try to help you out further. So, Tim, YouTube Punk on that one said, did a capacitor get plugged in backwards? Absolutely, guys. You need to check to make sure that the caps are in the correct positioning, so that the negative pole is going to the correct position on the monitor, because that does make a difference. Some caps, Tim, are not polarized, but the vast majority of caps on chassis are. So if you did not put them in the correct polar position, then you'll need to make sure that you correct that. Broadway Bobby says, my World Series has a black monitor, but if I unplug it and use a PC monitor, it works. And arcade monitor shows words and colors saying no signal. So typically something like that may be an issue with the actual, it could be an issue with the setting on the monitor, correct, Tim?
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
So kind of like what you were saying, make sure that you've got it on the correct setting. So if it's a tri-sync, a lot of times there is something to tell it which mode it needs to be in. So the fact that you're getting a no signal means it's a digital monitor, right, Tim? So it's probably a newer style digital monitor that you have there, Bobby Broadway. So you'll want to make sure that it is set to the correct mode for tri-sync. So if it needs to use a VGA. Now you're saying that you plug it up to. No, here's the deal. So here's the deal, though, Tim. He says he plugs it up to a PC monitor and it works. The arcade monitor shows words and colors, are just saying no signal. It may depend on the output of the is that you said a World Series? So the World Series board may be outputting a signal that is not compatible with your arcade monitor, but that is compatible with your PC monitor. Does that make sense? Or you may not have your arcade monitor set to the 31 kilohertz it needs for VGA. Because there are physical switches on some monitors to set that. And so if you don't have that set correctly, it's going to try to use the 25 or 15 kilohertz input. And if that's the case, you won't get anything because you've got it plugged up to the VGA. So, it really does sound like... And the board, make sure you have the board set correctly too, right, Tim? Because, let's say you're plugging the board up to a VGA connection, but you still have the board set on 15 kilohertz. Tim, this happens with games like NFL Blitz, NBA Showtime, where you have a VGA output, but you also may have a 15 kilohertz or 25 kilohertz, a standard or medium res output. You need to make sure the board itself is set to the way that you're hooking it up. So if the board is being set, if you're got it hooked up to a VGA, make sure the board is set to output VGA, and then make sure the monitor is also set to take the VGA, correct?
Yes. Or vice versa.
Exactly.
Whatever you're hooking it up to. So that, which is probably the case because it works in VGA, but not in the other mode.
Right. So
it could be a hard dip or it could be a soft setting too. I'm not sure on that.
Right. And the fact that it works on a PC monitor makes me think that it's probably the board is probably outputting the 31 kilohertz necessary that it needs. Now, resolution has a lot to do with that too sometimes. So if it's coming from a computer, for instance, like an actual computer, resolution may have a little bit to do with that because, typically VGA is 640 by 480. So, if your resolution set a little high, if it's a computer style output that you're getting from a standard PC, then it may be a little high for the monitor that you're trying to do. Or it could just be that the input is set wrong on your monitor. It could be a combination of things, but those are the only things that I can think of off the top of my head. Tim, anything else for that?
I don't think so.
Sounds good. Now, YouTube Punk says put the negative leg in the positive hole, and I think that's what he was talking about with the polarity on this question, Tim. Travis chimes in. He says I have a iGo company limited monitor 1991. There is a order to make the adjustments: contrast, color, brightness. So, is there an order, I guess is what he's saying. No, there's not really an order, Tim. Typically they're labeled on the chassis, but not always. And so sometimes you may have to play with each of those adjustments to know what they are, correct?
Yeah, I'm sure that it could be in some kind of manual somewhere or something, but finding those could be a little difficult.
Sounds good.
It's not labeled.
Sounds good. Delusional's Arcade's here, and I sent him an email. So thank you for telling me that. Get back to me at your earliest convenience, but we're glad to have you here for the live show always, Del. So let's see. Bobby Broadway says it's either that or the VGA Sega cable in the cab is messed up and causing when I test to use a separate VGA cable. Yes, that is possible that the VGA cable in the cabinet itself is having a problem as well, right, Tim?
Yeah, that's happened. I didn't think about that. Thank you for chiming in with that because that has definitely happened, especially at Chuck E. Cheese more than once, where that cable is shutting the door or it's getting pinched. Yeah, that could easily be what it is.
Absolutely. Board is set, so monitor setting and internal VGA cable needs checking. Yeah, I think those are the best ways to go about it, Bobby. Keep us updated. We'd love to know what you end up finding out on that front. So, okay, Tim, I think we're caught up once again on the live chat. So we've got a two-parter here from Paul, Tim. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it up here, and we'll go ahead and cover it. So he says, "Hi guys, I recently bought my first arcade game." And before we move on, Tim, I'm just going to say congratulations. That's awesome. It's always awesome to get your first arcade game, right, Tim?
Yeah.
So,
oh, very awesome.
in fact, if you're in the live chat and you have had a first arcade game, let us know what yours is. I want to know.
Okay.
So I'm throwing that to the live chat right now. I will continue with Paul's question, though.
Mine was pole position.
Yeah, yours was pole position. Mine was the Soul Calibur you got me at the auction one time. So, There you go. It's a single-slot Neo Geo and Fatal Fury in a generic cabinet with a 25-inch CRT and a K7000 P538 chassis. After rewiring the AC circuit to add a ground, yikes, I've now gotten into trying to tune the display. The picture appears to be too wide and is squished on the edge or wraps on the sides depending on how I adjust the horizontal position. To fix this, I've tried in this order. So these are the things he's tried to fix this, Tim. He's tried adjusting the horizontal width coil. It made no difference in the picture. He's tried a cap kit. No change. And then he tried changing the value of the C38 chiclet cap. This might have reduced the size a smidge, but the width coil still changes nothing. Now, Tim, this is something I think that is referred to in the flow chart for the K7000. So, which may be where he got this from. The C38 chip, or cap, excuse me, I think is actually referred to on the flow chart, which may be why Paul tried it. Any idea what might be wrong with this one? The second issue is discoloration on the edges. The tube appears to have a degaussing coil on it, and it's wired up to the chassis. How can I tell if that coil is working? Should I just try a handheld wand anyway? So, Tim, it is kind of a two-parter here. We have Paul, and he's trying to change the width. Now, Tim, I'm going to throw this back up here, because those pictures are actually of his game. And to be honest with you, the picture's not bad on it. I mean, you can see a little bit there, but, I mean, it looks, for the most part, pretty good, I think. And he also sent in a picture of the actual chassis, which I also appreciate. It's always good to have an actual picture of the chassis we're working with here. But I think the picture's okay. There is some discoloration around the edges, which we do see. But as far as the picture goes, it's not bad at all. But he does still want to try to tweak it just a bit more so he can get it to look, it's his first game. He wants it to look perfect, right? So what do you suggest for Paul here as far as getting the widths adjusted properly and then taking out the discoloration that he has around the edges?
Well, he's done a lot of good work, especially for your first game. So kudos to what you've already tried or some of the things we might have recommended. But at this point, based on what you recommended by process of elimination, we're going to look at the horizontal width kit. So we kind of did the vertical one, right? But we want to do a horizontal width kit and try replacing those capacitors and stuff in that
polypropylene.
Yeah, that's a hard.
The only reason I say that is I know you have a hard time saying it sometimes. Polypropylene.
Yeah, check.
Now, Tim, what about the discoloration issue? He's saying he's only really getting it around the edges, but he says he thinks the degaussing coil is hooked up. I mean, should he still use a degaussing wand on it?
Yes. Sometimes, and we've talked about this before, it could just be where it's positioned in his game room. Sometimes turning it, the rebar in the floors can make a difference. Just turning it 90 degrees might help. But an outside wand, even though you have a degaussing system set up in your monitor, it may not be working as good, or it's not quite doing what the wand in the front of the game could do. I've always kind of done both.
Absolutely, Tim. Sometimes the degaussing coil just doesn't get it quite good enough in a lot of cases, and you may have more magnetic forces depending on where it's positioned, where it's put in your game room. And so a degaussing wand or degaussing coil, which we actually prefer, Tim, is a good way to try to get the rest of that discoloration out and can really help with that picture. And a lot of times, once you if you position it where you want it and you do the degaussing coil or wand on it, typically it'll stay pretty good for a while. So, assuming that your degaussing coil continues to do its job as well. So, anything else?
No.
Right. Sounds good. I'm going to throw this up real quick then. So, like Tim mentioned, Paul, you did a lot of great troubleshooting here. And at this point, it's probably time to start looking at installing a horizontal width kit on your monitor. The kit contains several polypropylene capacitors that should help with width issues. And you want to see the horizontal width page on Bob Roberts' website for more information on that. And Tim, we should have a link below in the show notes. And Delusion also says Bob Roberts has a sale on degaussing coils for $35 on his website right now. So if you want a degaussing coil, and Tim, I think you have the one that Bob sells, correct?
Yes, I'm pretty sure I do.
Yeah, and that is a really good coil. Works really well. Yeah. So highly recommend it. $35 is a steal for sure. On the discoloration, sometimes the physical position of the game can cause discoloration even with a degaussing coil installed. Try an external degaussing coil or one to see if you can get the discoloration to go away. You might also try physically rotating the cabinet to see if it helps the problem, Tim. But if you've got it where you want it, a degaussing coil should help with those issues, because if there's any kind of outside magnetic forces that are working on it, hopefully it kind of draws those out and gives you a really nice picture. So, Tim, anything else you want to add to Paul's question before we move on?
No, I don't think so.
Sounds good. So, Paul, try those things. Let us know how it goes, and we look forward to hearing your updates soon. So, now, Tim, I posed the question to the live chat. What was your first arcade game, right? So, let's see what else we got here. Let's see if I can find all of them. Bobby Broadway says, my first was a Street Fighter back in 2010. So, there you go. Let's see. Josh says his was a one-slot Neo Geo, just like Paul. So there we go. Let's see. Silent Scope EX for you, 2Punk Tim. Rexer Show says a Tato 20-in-1 Game Room Classic, but had a multicade before. Delusional says he had a Total Carnage with a Smash TV PCB in it, Tim. Dragon Punch Day says his first cabinet was a Z-Back Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition for $380. Wow, if you could still find them for that.
Okay.
Let's see. Bobby Broadway, mine was a Street Fighter 2 with JAMA Switcher I added for Pit Fighter. Travis says, my current game is my first. It is a Pac-Man original cabinet that has been changed to a Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Galaga Frogger 4-player. So,
nice.
Let's see. Bobby says on his Street Fighter, though, everything just worked. He didn't have to actually work on it, which is always really nice when that happens. So, Real Hammer Billy Lee says, first actually dedicated game was Killer Instinct, but I had a MAME cabinet and a Sega Net City Candy cabinet before that. Let's see. And I think that is everybody who chimed in, Tim. A lot of great memories of people's first arcade cabinets. So, yeah, for sure. Let's see. Josh B says, I know discoloration is a simple thing to check, but coincidentally, when I bought my Neo Geo, the previous owner had unplugged the degaussing coil. Yeah, and Tim, we mentioned earlier when you do cap kits, or if you're taking the chassis out for repair, sometimes when you put them back in, you forget to hook that up. It's just a little 2-prong connector typically on most monitors, so make sure that when you're putting it all back together and inside the cabinet that you connect that one. That's very important to do. And Josh said he plugged it back in, it worked fine. So, let's see. Let's see. First cabinet, Smash TV. Danilo Jimenez says his was a Smash TV with the game. So there you go. We just got a question from El Colonel. What is the best PCB game to test and calibrate the CRT alignment and color with? Tim, I wouldn't necessarily recommend the game per se. I would recommend the test pattern generator, which YouTube Punk was nice enough to get us for Christmas, and I still have over here in my pile of stuff. But if you're going to be calibrating monitors and working on monitors at all, the TPG, Tim, is where it's at, right? Yeah. So, it is fantastic at that. It really gives you, it shows you, it has a whole bunch of test patterns, a whole bunch of color patterns on there that you can do. And so now if you're just looking for a board to do it with, I think the 16-1 Tim has some of that built in. It definitely has the grid. I've seen some of the Namco games like Tekken usually have like at least the color bars that you can go by. I'm trying to think if there's any other games off the top of my head that have that kind of stuff. 16-1 is pretty nice because, they're cheap and they're easy to get, and they typically have some of those. I know they have the color bars, and they also have the grid, which is pretty handy. So, and it's nice to not have to hook up the test pattern generator if you already have a JAMA wired cabinet. So I understand that. And the test pattern generator isn't cheap, right, Tim? Compared to 16-1 is cheaper. So it is what it is. But but the test pattern generator is definitely what we would recommend. But if you don't want to go that route, 16-1 or maybe one of the Namco, Tekken or Tekken 2, one of those Namco boards, they have a lot of nice test menu options as well. So, yeah, and Delusional said the same thing. TPG by Crafty Mac or Jim Rill's JAMA with TPG built in. Yes, exactly. So, something like that, you definitely want something that has a test pattern generator because those are really what those are made for, is calibrating monitors. So, okay. Tim, let's move on to Steve's question real quick. Okay. Steve says, hello, I have an original dedicated Mortal Kombat 2 machine and I have some dead bugs behind the glass. I can't figure out how to remove it. Is there a secret button code? If you can help, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks, Steve. So, Tim, this is where the title of the episode comes from tonight, The Secret Code to Release the Glass. And I thought I was being funny, Tim, and, just doing this. But now I've seen all these TikTokers, not that I'm into that or anything, but I've seen all these TikTokers saying that you can write numbers in the air and you unlock secret codes to the universe. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Yes, so apparently this is a thing. I did not realize this was a thing. So, but I don't believe it. But apparently you can write numbers in the air and things will happen to you. And I don't know. Tim, can we write numbers in the air to make the glass unlock from our Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet?
No, I think it's going to take a little bit of more work than that.
Okay, well, what can we do? What can Steve do to unlock the glass from his Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet?
Well, we didn't get a picture of the cabinet, so I'm going to assume that it's a dedicated cabinet.
I think he actually says that. An original dedicated Mortal Kombat 2 machine. It is dedicated.
Okay. So the dedicated cabinet, if I remember right, you're going to go up through the coin door with your hand, kind of like I am always thinking like a doctor putting on gloves, way up in there, and unlatch the latches so the control panel will come forward. The top of it will. And what it's doing, it's trapping that glass. In fact, I built a game not long ago, same thing. I have the glass is just sitting there, and the control panel itself is what keeps it from going forward. Or there may be some kind of, usually a slot up in the top where it slides up into. So once you open that control panel, you should be able to remove the glass. It's getting the control panel open is the trickiest part, which is not that tricky. So, and once you get in there, play with it.
Yeah, and we talk about this in our video and post on opening an arcade cabinet, Tim. Which that was a 1942, but the concept is the same. You're gonna unlatch. There's usually two latches on either side of the control panel, Tim, and then once you unlatch those, the control panel should fold towards you and come open.
Yeah.
And then once it's open, you should be able to just lift out the glass. There's a little insert there, Tim, if I remember correctly, where you can kind of lift it up and then pull it out very safely. And so once you do that, you'll be able to clean your bezel, your glass, and all that kind of stuff.
Those bugs out.
Exactly. So no secret button code to unlock the control panel, although that would be really cool. But if you unlatch the latches and open up the top part of the control panel, then you should be able to gain access to that. So Tim, I'm going to go ahead and throw up the slide here. On Mortal Kombat cabinets, the glass covers the monitor is held in by the top and bottom edges. So the glass that covers the monitor is held in by the top and bottom edges. The top edge of this glass is inserted into a groove in the wood. The bottom edge sits on a small wood ledge and is held in by the control panel. So, and Delusional also says Midways have a metal bracket on the control panel that holds the glass down. Don't lose that piece. They are sought after. Yeah, sometimes there is. I've seen it with and without the bracket, Tim, where there is that bracket in there. Sometimes the bracket's there, sometimes it's not. Probably it's not there because somebody lost it and then didn't put it back, if I had to guess. But anyway, to remove this glass, you'll need to open the control panel by inserting your hand into the coin door and unlocking the latches on the right and left sides of the panel. Once you do that, you should be able to open it up, remove the glass using the cutout in the middle of the small wood ledge. Sometimes angle iron is used to keep the glass in place, and that's what Delusional is talking about. Sometimes there's a metal bracket, what we like to call angle iron, Tim, but sometimes there's a little bracket there that holds it in place. You may have to remove that as well to get it out. So no secret codes, no having to do this little air thing or anything like that, right, Tim? No magic wands?
No.
So
no, there is. I need to learn.
You need to learn the codes for TikTok. Have you seen this on TikTok?
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Must be up, up, down, down, left, right, left, right.
No, it's numbers, Tim. Seriously. Okay. I mean, you're supposed to you do a 5 and like a 1, and like you apparently there's ones for getting rich and other things.
Well, I definitely need to learn those.
Yeah, codes. Exactly. But I'm pretty sure it's all BS. I'm just saying. But hey, TikTokers are making a lot of money apparently teaching people these codes. Who knew? So, Tim, apparently we're in the wrong business. Arcade repair is not where we need to be. We need to be teaching people how to write numbers in the air. So, if we do that, then we should. Apparently, we'll make more money. I don't know. So that's what it is. So anyway, hopefully it answers Steve's question, and good luck getting that glass off of your Mortal Kombat 2 arcade game. Dragon Punch Dave says there's a Z bracket at the bottom of it. Yeah, they remove the control panel, it gets separated from the cabinet. That's how it gets lost. Yeah, absolutely. So. But it happens. We've seen them lost before, right? So, a lot of times it'll still hold in fine. You just have to be careful when you open it up that it doesn't, the glass doesn't fall down. So, okay, Tim. Well, it's that time. It's time for rapid fire questions from YouTube, and so we have 3 this month, just like we always do. And so, We've got Max, Stacy, and T.M. McKimmy, it looks like, and they're asking some quick questions here. So let's go ahead and read those, and then we'll take them in a rapid-fire fashion. So the first one here is from Max. Tim, he says, "How do I get in test mode for my Galaxian?" So that's the first question. How do I get into the test mode for my Galaxian?
Okay.
Hang on. Rapid fire.
Okay.
Stacy says, "We have an arcade console at our church that has great sound and picture video, but it doesn't play games. It's advertising all the games, but never allows you to play them. Help, any tips?" And then T.M. McKimmy says, "I have a Pac-Man and the monitor bleeds red and has a black edge on the right side. Is there a certain order to adjust the settings in to get the best outcome? I can't find a second board to adjust the red, green, blue, etc. Thanks in advance." So we have Max, who just wants to get into the test mode on his Galaxian. We have Stacy that can't start a game for the life of her, even though her game seems to be working. And then we have T.M. McKimmy, who has a Pac-Man that's bleeding red and just wants to know how he can adjust it to get it working again. So Tim, why don't we go ahead and take those real quick? So for Max, how do I get into test mode on my Galaxian, Tim?
Well, it's just like a Midway cabinet, like Miss Pac-Man and Galaxian. They should, is when you open the coin door, there should be like a red push button there and a switch that goes from left to right. You should be able to turn the game off, switch it to the opposite direction, and turn it back on. It should take you into test mode.
Sounds good. So Stacy's having a problem starting a game on her arcade, Tim. What can she do?
Yeah, I think I talked to Stacy about this. And what's happened is it's just going through the advertisements because the game is wanting you to coin it up, and it's not set on free play. So in her particular 60-in-1 board issue, she's going to have to turn the game off, turn dip switch 4 on, turn the game back on to get back into the settings and go through there. The manual will help her, or we can walk deeper. I'm actually waiting to hear back from her so that, but once you get that dip switch setting, and if you don't quite know what a dip switch is, there's 4 of them. They're labeled 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to turn it with the game off, turn it opposite direction that it is, and then turn the game on. That should come up in test mode. From there, if you play with it long enough, you'll figure it out. You got to get in there and turn it on to free play. But the manual is available online. Google search Arcade 60-in-1 manual, and that will walk you through how to do that also.
Okay, then Tim, T.M. McKimmy and the adjustments. Now, specifically the color adjustments, where can they find those at?
Well, it should be on the neck board somewhere. It could be on either a satellite board, or on the board itself, depending on the monitor. But it's going to need to turn the red drive down or adjust the contrast. Something that they're just going to have to play with that a little bit to try to get that color from quit bleeding as it is right now. But it probably is an adjustment and probably not a cap at this point.
Sounds good, Tim. So let's go ahead and review what you said here to each of these. So, Max, there should be a slide switch located on the inside of the cash box area. Turn off the game, place the switch in the on position, turn it back on to initiate the test mode. Now, something Delusional mentioned, Tim, and something we know too, is that these switches are terrible and that they fail constantly. So you may have to clean it with some, and he mentions Deoxit, Tim, which is really good to clean it with. You may even have to replace it. We've had to replace some in the past in order to get these working. They are terrible switches. They're not very good. So if it's not working, you may have to replace the switch altogether or use some cleaner on it to get it to work, correct?
All right. In the meantime, you could just jumper a wire across it and hold it there while you turn it off and on. That will get you into the service mode.
Absolutely. So for Stacy, it sounds like the game is not in free play mode, right, Tim? So, and typically, if it's in free play mode, you're going to see free play. And Tim, I put a little picture off to the side here so she can see that says free play on it. If it's not in free play mode, you may have to actually put quarters in it, or you may actually have to physically hand flip the switch or whatever. So if that's the case, but or you can flip it to free play mode like you mentioned, Tim. If it's based on, which it sounds like it's based on 60-in-1, then dip switch 4 should actually get you into free play mode. But Tim, we also have a video on adding credits to an arcade game and setting up free play that she could check out if she wants to know how to install a credit button, or if she wants to know how to set up in free play. Correct?
Yeah.
Sounds good. And then T.M. McKimmy. The color adjustments are usually located on the neck board that attaches to the back of the monitor tube. And Tim, we have our video on adjusting an arcade monitor for that. But I also put a picture here, Tim, from that video where it shows the red cutoff, the red drive, the green cutoff, the green drive, and the blue cutoff and the blue drive. Now, those are sometimes on the top of the neck board, Tim, and sometimes they're on the side of the neck board, and sometimes they're on a breakout board, right? I mean, so it could be anywhere, but typically they're either on the neck board or on a breakout board. So you need to look in those areas and see if you can find them. But turning down, like Tim mentioned, turning down the red drive or the red cutoff, depending, should help with the red coloration. The black bar you have on the side is probably due to a sizing issue, so you probably need to, just adjust your width just a bit. If you're having problems with that, we have a lot of videos on with coils and other things that you can look at. But the red is definitely going to be a red adjustment that you'll need to make, and typically either on the neck board or, like we mentioned, on a breakout board. Tim, anything else before we move on for any of these questions?
No, I don't think so.
Sounds good. Well, Max Stacy and T.M. McKimmy, hopefully that answers your questions, and good luck with all your problems. So, and if you have any more questions, please let us know. I'll be happy to help you out further. So let's see what else we have here. Just gonna check. I'm kind of checking the live chat. Paul says, unfortunately, I didn't hear the answer live because I got a phone call and I had to take. Thanks for answering my question. Display width. Yes, if you go back through the recording, Paul, we did answer that question on the display width that we were talking about. The biggest thing we said on that, Tim, was the horizontal width kit, correct?
Yeah.
So the horizontal width kit, if you go to therealbobroberts.net/width.html, you'll find out about width kits, and you should be able to order one from Bob. I believe he's still shipping those. So, especially since you have a K7000. So that was the main point of it if you just wanted it. But you should go back and watch the whole thing. It's pretty, hopefully we gave you a lot of good information there. Tim, we got a donation from Josh B. $10. He says, appreciate all you guys do. Really enjoy listening to the podcast in the car. Thank you, Josh B. We appreciate it. Donations are always awesome. And if you guys would like to donate, you can hit the little $ button down there in the live chat, or you can donate at arcaderepairtips.com/donate if you would prefer to go that route. So, but we appreciate all donations around here, and it just makes sure that we can continue to do what we do. Thank you guys so much for that. Really means a lot to us. So. Okay, Tim. So this your tech tip for this month is very similar to another tech tip that you did a couple of months back, but now we have a different game, correct?
Right.
So I'll go ahead and drop the slide, and I'll let you talk to the people about it.
Yeah, pretty much it's similar to the pole position one, except for this is pole position 2. And so does the same thing, allows the game to play in a track mode and doesn't tend to burn the screen up there. But you can use an EEPROM eraser and burner software to replace the factory data on 3 EEPROMs, or you can order a set from Hobby ROM. So it's just a EEPROM swap, right, John?
Yes.
Which is a little different, and so you can get, there's a video link I know that you have on there since you got the slide up, but again, you've ever seen the pole position, we all know the common problems with that. This is for the pole position 2, so very similar. So a lot of you have pole position 2s. I would highly recommend that you do this.
Absolutely, Tim. Especially if you've got on free play, because Tim, how many pole position modders have we seen with game over burned into them?
Gosh, every one. I don't think I've ever seen one that didn't have it.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's very, 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 very common. And so what this proper free play mod does is it basically eliminates the game over, which helps tremendously. So with the burn-in, especially if you've got one at home and you're just leaving it on that free play mode all the time. And Tim, it's only a 3 EEPROM swap, and you can get it from Hobby ROMs if you want to. And, it's very simple to do. If you've got your own burner, you just burn the ROMs. He's basically offering this for free, and it really is a great modification. Tim, you mentioned the pole position 1 last time. This is the one for pole position 2. But it just really is a great mod. And Tim, I love free play mods. Just makes it easy for people who are collectors who have games at their houses, right?
Oh, yeah.
So there we go. So you guys, if you guys want that, the video link is here on the slide, but we also have it down in the show notes, so you guys can check out his video. And it also has the post where you can download the EEPROMs, or it'll tell you where you can order them from. So great stuff there. And Tim, we always like little things like that. It's always good to see, like I said, little mods and things like that. So. Bobby Broadway says, EPROMs make me think of 80s movie Runaway with Gene Simmons and the Needlebots with computer chips. There you go. So, let's see what we got here. YouTube Punk says, what are Jonathan and Tim's favorite animes? And Josh B says, easy, High Score Girl. You know, I have not seen High Score Girl, which is supposedly something that is really geared towards people like us, Tim. Guys, I know it's cliche maybe, but I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. I love Dragon Ball Z, just always have. And, you know, my brother started watching it, and, you know, I was like, what are you watching? That looks dumb. You know, and then I started watching it, and I just couldn't get enough of it. So, Dragon Ball Z is my favorite anime. And like I say, I know it's cliche, because like everybody's favorite anime is Dragon Ball Z. But I think it's well written, and even though sometimes, you know, it takes like an entire episode for somebody to power up like a spirit bomb, which I always find funny. It's like an entire episode just going like that the entire time. So, you know, that's anime, Tim. What about you?
No, I'm not so much into that. I don't.
Not an anime person at all.
No, I don't know. It just I'd have to go back to like the '80s Gotcha Man, Battle of the Planets, early anime like that maybe, but nothing modern.
Yeah, well, you see, that's still anime, Tim.
Yeah, it is.
So I mean,
but old school anime.
Yeah, nothing recent.
No,
now, like my brother, he loves Avatar too, and I want to try Avatar. I just haven't. But you know, I mean, there's a lot that he likes. I haven't watched a whole lot, but I do want to watch High Score Girl just because, you know, they basically said it was a love letter to, like Josh says, a love letter to arcades and retro games. But I have not done that yet, so hopefully we'll be able to get to that between maybe now and the next live show. Now, Tim, I got something. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw this, but I ordered in the last show. I said that I ordered the arcade 1-Up Attack from Mars Pinball Machine, and guess what?
Yeah.
It's here. And actually, I played some. If you guys were at the beginning here of the live stream, I was just kind of doing it. So I'm going to bring it up here real quick, and I'm going to show the side camera. Check that out, Tim. I don't think they can hear you. I'd have to put you on the slide. But what I will do is I will take questions about it. I'll play a little bit. I'm in the middle of a Medieval Madness a game on it, as you guys can see. So I'm going to actually finish that game up real quick. But if you guys have any questions about it, I will answer those. And then after I'm done with this game, I'll come back and kind of give a mini review of what my thoughts are on it. Tim, they won't be able to hear you right now, but if you say something or if you have any questions, I'll kind of repeat those to the audience. So I will turn up the volume on it a little bit. I don't know if you guys will be able to hear it. I didn't have the volume on earlier. Let's see. There we go. Got some sound? Tim, can you hear it? Okay, Tim can hear it. So it has solenoids in it. Of course, I lose my ball like immediately. So when you can hear when I hit the flipper, you'll hear the solenoid kicking. And it also comes through the speakers, so there's two solenoids in there. They're not really powerful, but they do kick whenever you do the flippers. They kick whenever you do pop bumpers, Tim. Pop bumpers automatically get the little kicks from the solenoids. And as you can see here, you can kind of see how it's laid out. I think you only get one view of the playfield for the most part. And then you can see that, like up here on the display, we're not getting the full the full screen DMD, but I kind of like the fact that they kept the aspect ratio the same from the originals. But if you guys just want to see a little bit, there is a little delay between the flippers and hitting the flipper button and the flip, which you'll kind of get used to after a while, but it takes a little getting used to for sure. I'm playing the Trolls, Tim. I know you can't see. It does have a potentiometer in it that will pick up when you shake it. I don't really get that to work very well, but and some people have had problems with it. Mine has not had any problems for the most part. It picks up the shakes pretty well. It's just I'm not very good at shaking pinball machines now. Kids do like it, so my son played it a little bit, and he really got a kick out of it. And then my daughter played it a little bit, and she liked it. It has an actual physical plunger on it. You can't see it in the camera, but it has a physical plunger, but it also has a launch button underneath that. So you can pull the plunger and then let it go, and it'll go like a regular pinball machine. And you'll hear those solenoids kick. It is a 720p screen, but I really haven't had a problem with that too much. A lot of people have griped about the quality, but I mean, to be honest with you, quality looks pretty good overall. This is my third ball, because like I said, I was in the middle of all of it. So compared to like another arcade 1-up product, I feel like this is probably a little bit better quality. So I feel like the cabinet is much sturdier than what we get. Oh, I got my initials in. There you go, guys. And did you hear that? That would have been like the kicker solenoid. It's kind of fake through the speaker. And here's the little menu that comes up. Of course, it's powered by Zen Pinball. For those of you guys who are familiar with Zen, you guys can see all the games. It's got Medieval Madness on it, Junkyard, Getaway, Fishtails, Attack from Mars, of course, because that's pretty much all the artwork's done in that. Hurricane, Roadshow, Whitewater. Now, Tim, Whitewater's the one that doesn't work so well. I'll talk about that here in a second. No Good Gophers, which is actually one of my favorites, and Tales of the Arabian Nights. So, and you can see it keeps your high scores, which is really nice. You've got options. If you hold both your flipper buttons for a second, you'll get like you can turn down the music, turn up the music. You can turn the solenoids on and off. Ball trails, pop-up scores. There's different plunger calibration. There's a lot of different settings here. Menu system's very easy to use, very nice. So it has the same music as the Williams Pinball that we have. If you've used the Williams Pinball app on the Android, I think it's basically using a version of that. So overall, that's kind of it. I'm going to turn it back down so we can come over here. So I'm going to look at the live chat real quick and see, and I'll bring you back in here, Tim. So here we are. Okay, so we're back.
I don't know, Johnson, I don't know if you have your phone on you. I have a little breaking news, and I will update that. When we go to talk about Mike's Arcade later, I got some breaking news that I want to share too. Okay.
So we'll throw that in here in a second. But I'll just kind of go through here. On the anime front, Tim, somebody says Voltron. Dragon Punch Dave says DBZ was what got me into anime. High Score Girl has a lot of cool candy in it. Avatar is the bomb, I heard. So, okay, so here's the questions about the Attack from Mars. Is the resolution and monitor washed out like all the reviews? You know, I don't notice that, Tim. I think the monitor actually is pretty vibrant for what it is. Now, that could be just, I don't know if there's a version 1, version 2. I don't really know that. To me, though, I feel like for what I paid for it, I feel like it's a fair display. It's pretty good quality. Let's see. Resolution could be better, but the 720p is good enough. I mean, considering what you pay for it, you're paying $500, Tim, and as we both know, a pinball machine costs $5,000 typically or more. Right. For what you're paying for it, I think you're getting a good package here. Let's see. Is Whitewater unplayable due to lag? Yes. So right now, Whitewater is pretty unplayable. I'll pull it up here in a second and show you guys just so you can see it. Bobby Broadway, the chrome actually looks like Kong sticker chrome at Games Mod. He matched it pretty well, I guess. The chrome is very impressive. I like the chrome. I mean, it is on par, Tim, I think, with the chrome that you would find on a standard pinball machine. Which I think says a lot about this, for sure. Let's see.
And doesn't feel too weak or nothing? They pop pretty good?
Yeah, they pop pretty good. Solenoids are, they're not even equivalent to what you get in a standard pinball machine, but it does do a lot to give you the feel. You know what I'm saying? The feel of a pinball machine. Josh B says, sorry, I didn't catch what Johnson said earlier. What pinball is this? This is the Arcade 1-Up Attack from Mars pinball machine. That's what we're actually talking about. Rexer Show, the accelerometer is hard to get to work. Nudge is faulty for most reviews. Nudge has worked fine for me. I am not much of a nudger, Tim, but if I shake it pretty hard, I get the nudge. If I shake it as hard as I shake a normal pinball machine, I get the nudge. So the nudge works on mine. I know a lot of reviews have been saying the nudge is faulty. Tim, I'm very nice to my UPS and FedEx guys, and so I feel like they always take care of my stuff. So I think they did me good on this one. But the nudge on mine has been okay. I know a lot of reviews I've seen online say the nudge is not working well. From what I've seen with mine, no problems with that.
How much was shipping, John?
So it's $5.99 plus tax and shipping. So now I had a birthday coupon I used on this, so I got a little bit cheaper. But $600 with tax, and then tax and shipping on top of that. So the shipping on this was only like $15 from Best Buy, but now the shipping is free if you're ordering one now. And I think it's just because we did a pre-order on it.
Okay.
Yeah, so price is $600 for those of you guys who want to know. $600 plus tax and shipping to your area. Does it get John and Tim's thumbs up? Now Tim has not played it, so I'm not gonna let you. I'll let you come over here. And Tim, I think we talked about this last show, but we'll talk about it again next time. You're gonna be here.
Yeah,
right. He's gonna be sitting right here,
right over there,
right over here, right here. But yeah, so next time he'll be sitting right here, so he'll get to come over and actually play it before the next live show, and so we'll get Tim's input on that. For me, I mean, I don't know if it's a thumbs up per se. I think it's a 3/4 thumb up. Is that okay?
Okay.
So I think that there's a lot of things that need improvement, but at the same time, for a first generation product, it's very good. So I mean,
you think they rushed it, kind of like? Because I don't understand why release Fishtails if it doesn't.
It wasn't Fishtails. It was Whitewater.
Whitewater, I mean.
So yeah. I don't know if they rushed it as much as they maybe didn't get to test it as much due to the pandemic. You know, I think that may be more of what has to do with it. It was probably that it was, you know, the pandemic kind of caused them to have to put it out with not as much testing as they want to do. And so I'll let you see Whitewater. I'll do it here in a second. YouTube Punk says you're keeping it. Yes, I am. I am keeping it. It is fun to play. Okay, and Tim, you know, we talked about this when you did your very first view for the Arcade 1-Up, and you played the Centipede, and you said it was fun to play. And it's kind of the same thing with this. It's like, look, is it a real pinball machine? Absolutely not. Does it have faults? Yes, it does. Is it fun to play? I think so. So, I mean, that's what I'll say. Let's see. Went to At Games. A lot of people like the At Games pinball. So, you know, so I mean, that's kind of, At Games has put out their own little version of an at-home pinball machine, Tim. The problem is that it doesn't come with the same quality of tables. You can do some things to get, you know, the tables that play on it, but it doesn't come with the tables built in. And a lot of people have said that the menuing system is a little bit more clumsy on the At Games. I think for what you're getting with this, as far as a prepackaged kind of thing, it works pretty well. So let me go ahead and boot up Whitewater. I'm going to flip the camera here, Tim, for a sec, so they won't be able to hear you again. But I'm going to flip it to Whitewater so you guys can kind of see it. So, and Tim, Whitewater is a game we're very familiar with, correct? So, I mean, we've been on ones at auction, never won one before, but you know, it's definitely one. It's definitely one we're familiar with. What'd you say? Yeah, we've worked on them before. Tim said yes, we have. So here's Whitewater, guys, just so you can see it, and you'll see kind of how it's got a little bit of a glitch to it. Now, mine still has the original plexi on it, Tim, and the original plexi has some lines in it, and people have replaced it with tempered glass, and they say that works a lot better. But it doesn't bother me enough to do that. Maybe at some point I'll replace it with tempered glass, but for right now I'm okay with that. So here's Whitewater, guys, and I don't know how good the lag's going to come across on the stream, but you'll see a lot of judder on the ball if you're looking, and there's a lot more delay in the flippers on this game than there is on some of the other games. There is a delay in the flippers, and it's noticeable. I will tell you this though: you play it for a while, you get used to it. Okay, so it's not a deal breaker to me. If I could keep the ball in play, that'd be really great. There we go. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if you guys can see how jittery the ball is. And people were saying that you can turn off the ball trails. I haven't tried that yet to see if you can. It's not totally unplayable. You can play it in this state, but it definitely is not as playable as most of the other games on the machine. And it's really bad when the ball's moving fast. Really, like right there, you can really see it. Yeah, even there was too much. I lost the ball because it kind of looked like it jumped on me. So I'll play this last ball here, just so you guys can, like I said, get a little bit more of an idea on it. But It's playable, but barely. And the Zen Pinball team has said that they may be working on something to fix that. And like I said, there's already some things in there that say that you can, that you may be able to fix it if you turn off the ball trails and things like that. I have not tried any of those, but, that is kind of disappointing. But, I mean, that table's okay, but it's definitely not, it's definitely not one of my top tables on here. I prefer several of the other ones more. But it is disappointing that, you get something that has like 10 tables on it, and then one of the tables doesn't work, right, Tim? So
yeah, very frustrating.
Right, exactly. So let's see what we have here. My fave pinball is Whitewater. Seems unplayable. It's playable, but it's just there's a lot of like juddering in the ball. The ball will jump, and there's just a lot of delay in that. So let me just go ahead and sum up my thoughts in this slide, Tim, just so everybody can get an idea. So, As I mentioned, noticeable delay between when you hit the flipper button and when the flipper activates. It's very jarring at first. So if you're playing it for the first time and you play it, you're going to say, the delay is killing me. And it is killing you. You'll get used to it, though, after about 5 games. So you play it for around 5 games or so, and you'll kind of get used to that. But it takes a little bit, guys, before you get used to it. Warning up front. So the first time you play it, you may hate it just because of that. Give it about 5 games or so. You'll get used to that delay, I promise. And then it'll just be more natural to you. The screen resolution is okay, but it could be better. Okay, I will say that. 720p, I feel like the graphics are good for what they are. Could it be better? Absolutely. Do I feel like it's a deal breaker? Not really. I feel like the resolution is good enough. Most of the games play well, except for Whitewater, just like we saw. Has some issues. Some people say it's unplayable. It's somewhat playable, but definitely has issues. As I mentioned, Zen Pinball says that there's an update coming at some point. I'm hoping that whenever that update comes, we can fix it. Cabinet quality is good, feels solid, menu is easy. And Tim, like we said, is it fun to play? I think so. So it really depends on how much you value it. I think it's cool in the fact that this is the closest thing to virtual pinball that I've played that feels like real pinball. The solenoids kind of fake you out after a while. Even though they're not hitting as hard as like a regular solenoid would on like a pinball machine, just the fact that they're there, it kind of tricks you a little bit into thinking you're actually playing a pinball machine. The plunger actually kind of tricks you into thinking you're playing a pinball machine, and the little kick that you feel, the solenoid when you flip the flippers, kind of tricks you. So as far as virtual pinball goes, this is the best iteration I've ever played of it, like personally, and I've played some different cabinets and things, but the solenoids, do kind of give you that fakey kind of feel, enough to make it at least feel a little bit like real pinball. But Tim, of course, nothing really feels like real pinball. So, this is the best simulation that I've played of virtual pinball, but it's still virtual pinball, so take that for what it's worth. Anything else, Tim? You got anything on it? Any questions?
No, I thought it looked pretty good.
Yeah. So it's not bad at all. And Tim, I think once you get a chance to play it, I think you'll think the same. But we'll find out next month. We'll get Tim's review and see what he thinks of it next month after he's had a chance to play it. So. Okay. Travis McKimmy is in here. We covered your question earlier in the show, Travis. In the rapid fire section and some questions from YouTube. So you may want to go back and check that out. It was just a little bit ago, right, Tim? So, if you're looking for someone to do a cap kit for you, cap kits are not hard. It says he's looking for someone made to do a cap kit. A TV repair guy can do it, Tim. And if you go to your local Chuck E. Cheese, if there's a tech there, they can probably help you with it. Or Dave & Buster's, they could probably help you with it. But it's not a hard thing to do, right, Tim? Cap kits are pretty simple for the most part.
Pretty basic. Once you know what to do, it's not that bad.
Absolutely. So, you may want to try it yourself, Travis. We have a video on installing a cap kit that you can check out for more on that process. So, YouTube Punk says he's glad it has Zen on the back end. Solenoids were a good idea. I think so, too. I think the solenoids were a good idea. He wonders if you can upgrade the TV. Some people have upgraded the TV in this, Tim, the main playfield television, with a bigger one. I have not done that, but some people have, and it looks good. So,
how big is that one?
I think it's a 28. It's a little bit smaller than a 32 for sure.
Wow.
So, but the thing is,
I mean, but that's a good price for that monitor, just for the monitor.
Yeah, if you add it all together, the parts alone, like if you bought them separately at not wholesale pricing, would probably cost you around what the cabinet cost. So that's something to think about.
Yeah.
Let's see. Can't upgrade to 1080p. The board only outputs 720. That is correct. It only outputs 720, but the people who have put bigger monitors in them, there is a quality improvement. It's still not up to like 1080p standards, but there is a quality improvement. And YouTube Punk says, I didn't break my back moving it into my game room. That is correct. As far as the assembly process, you did have to put the legs on, and the way they tell you to put on the legs, I think, is not a good way to do it. Tim, I put the legs on like we put the legs on a pinball machine instead of the way they told it. They want you to flip the whole cabinet upside down, put them all on, then flip it back over. And that seems like it's for the bird. So what I did was I lifted it up, I put the front two on, and then I lifted up the back, I put one on, other one on, put two bolts in, and then set it down, and then put the rest of the bolts in. So that's for the birds, flipping it over on its side, and that may be why people are having problems with the tilt sensor too. If they're flipping it over, because I never flipped mine over, it always stayed in its normal positioning. You do have to put the back box together, and the assembly process is very similar to what you get with a normal arcade 1-up. So it's not hard at all. So. Let's see. Yeah, 24 inch is what Rigzer Show says on the monitor, Tim. 24-inch monitor in there.
And John, total time putting it together from unboxing?
45 minutes.
Wow, it's pretty fast.
Because like I said, it's mostly assembled. It's really just the back box that you're having to assemble. So about 45 minutes. Another thing I liked about this cabinet I didn't put on the slide, Tim, is that the audio is in stereo. And if you know, a lot of these tables, these Williams tables, Tim, had that WMS sound system. And that is emulated very well. You get the stereo sound on it for sure. So,
that's
cool.
It
really is. So, okay, well, I think that about finishes it up with the arcade 1-up Attack from Mars cabinet. If you guys have any more questions, just throw them in the live chat. We'll get to those as we continue on here. But Tim, I think it's time to go ahead and move on. Now, we actually just got a question from Jose Flores in the live chat. Or Joe Flores, excuse me. He says, I just bought a Cinematronics ripoff. It works perfectly. I often ask people about them, and they tell me to stay away from Cinematronics games. Too hard to work on, no parts. Do you know why they say that? It is hard. It is hard to find parts for them, Tim. It seems like Cinematronics games are pretty rare. Ripoff is one of the more common ones, though, that I've seen. What about you?
Yeah, ripoff probably is the most common.
Yeah, so any reasons to stay away from them, Tim?
No. I don't.
They're not as common as like Pac-Mans and Miss Pac-Mans where you have a lot of troubleshooting information. There's not as much troubleshooting information on Cinematronics games. But there are people who know a lot about them who will help you. But the information is not readily available out there like what you would find with a Pac-Man, Galaga, Donkey Kong, for instance. So,
but at the same time, they're not most arcade games are still it's usually not the major issues. It's usually the smaller stuff.
Agreed. So, okay, Tim, speaking of Williams, I don't know if you saw this, but apparently the source code for some of the Williams Midway games, arcade games, has been leaked. And MAMEWorld put this story up, and then they took it down immediately, which was crazy. So we have a link here to the actual place where you can find the source code. And I'll read the slide here. The source code for several Williams Midway arcade games has been released. Games include NBA Jam, Cruisin' USA, WWF, WrestleMania, Sinistar Frenzy, Stargate, Robotron Defender, and Joust, among others. Since the source code release, some hidden elements have been discovered, such as apparently you can play as Matthew Chandler Perry in NBA Jam, and Adam Bomb was going to be a playable character in WWF WrestleMania. Now, Tim, the source code doesn't mean much because it's pretty proprietary source code based on the hardware that was available at the time, except for the fact that you can go through there and find all the secrets, right? Right. So, I mean, that is what is valuable. Sometimes you find source code, Tim, and you can compile that source code to another platform, which has happened with, like, if you've been keeping track of Super Mario 64, Tim, somebody leaked that source code on the internet, and now people have been making PC ports of it because that source code is portable. But the source code for these games is more proprietary than that, and so it's not like you're going to be able to port these games directly to PC. They still need to run on the hardware that they ran on. But it is cool because you get to kind of break down and see how they did things and how they programmed different elements of the game. So there is value in it in that. But as far as actually converting that code to run on a different platform, you really still have to emulate the hardware in order to get that to work. So, you know, there are some good things about it. The coolest thing, though, is that we are going to be able to discover all the secrets to these games just based on that. So, Let's see what else we have here, Tim. Another piece of news was the Haggis Pinball release. Tim, did you see this?
No, I didn't. I saw it in the outline, but I didn't see it when it happened.
And we want to thank Mark for all of his reporting on the new pinball machines, Tim. Mark is our ace pinball reporter. So he's the one that always posts all the pinball stuff. So he was the one that posted this. But Haggis Pinball, Tim, is going to redo a machine. They're going to redo Fathom, Tim, which is a machine you're probably familiar with. Yeah. It's an old Williams-based machine, Tim, and Bally. It's an old Bally-based machine, Tim, and they're basically going to take it and they're going to soup it up. And of course, they're doing this in conjunction with Planetary Pinball Supply, who has the trademark for all of the Williams and Bally tables. And so Damian Harton, who's the CEO of Haggis Pinball, says we have been able to remake it using modern technology while preserving the look and feel of the original game. And Tim, I think this is a great idea because there were a lot of tables that maybe didn't get the love or maybe did get the love back in the day, but there's just not a lot of those tables around anymore. And so if you can remake a table like this, more people can enjoy it and see it for the classic that it really is. Plus, you can add additional features that didn't exist back when the original game was made. So I look forward to seeing what this looks like. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to play it at a festival whenever those come back into style. So, Tim, any thoughts on remaking Fathom Pinball with Haggis here?
No, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's weird though. It's like makes you wonder how they chose that one, but it's still fun. I'm glad they did.
Absolutely. So I think it'll be a really cool thing.
Fan, I guess.
I think it'll be a really cool thing, and I look forward to playing it. Tim, I've played Fathom before. It's been a long time, but when we're at Texas Pinball Festival, get to play a lot of different games. Definitely played Fathom before. Look forward to seeing what the improvements are in the Haggis Pinball version for sure. Let's see. There's a thread. Delusional says there's a thread on KLOV where a group of guys were going to modify NBA Jam code to change the roster and update the codes that were removed for the Mortal Kombat characters. It's a 4-year-old thread. Yeah, that may be easier now if you could do it with the source code. The thing is, you would need a compiler for that source code for that hardware. And I don't know if that has been leaked or if that even exists at this point. But if you could find a compiler for the hardware, you could put the source code in there and then run it in the emulator. And that would be the easiest way to add elements of the game back in that were missing. But like I said, I don't know if a compiler like that exists at this point. And it's proprietary, Tim. Really, I think MAMEWorld may have taken down the story because that source code is probably still under an NDA technically, even though Midway has not been around for a while and Williams hasn't been around for a while. It's still technically under NDA. So, I mean, but I think in the interest of preservation, Tim, I think that this was the right thing to do, is to have it there so that people can learn from it. That's really what that's about. So, let's see here. Speaking of new pinball machines, Tim, I think you've heard about this one, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, The Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah. That was the big news.
Now, Mark posted his big, long rumor thread. And again, we want to thank Mark. And Tim, I think Mark hit it pretty well. Mark keeps up with all the pinball rumors, guys. So he's constant.
Mark's got some insider information, sources or something.
Yeah, so he's constantly like scouring pinball threads on Pinside and other places, listening to podcasts, trying to get any little bits of information he can about upcoming games. And he definitely nailed this one, Tim, in Star Wars The Mandalorian. And Tim, they posted a video on May 4th. That Star Wars Day, of course, may the 4th be with you, to their various social media channels. And there's no additional details given at this point, but according to the rumors that Mark has heard, it's going to be designed by Brian Eddy, who also did Medieval Madness, Attack from Mars, and Stranger Things. And a full reveal and gameplay stream will occur around May 11th. So, Tim, hopefully we're going to find out a lot more details about it on or around May 11th. So, now, Tim, Dragon Punch Dave in here says, has anyone seen the new Mortal Kombat movie? And that's the next topic. So I'll go ahead and move to that real quick. Mortal Kombat coming to HBO Max in theaters on April 23rd. And it says, are you ready to see Sub-Zero and Liu Kang fire up their finishing moves on your TV screen? That's right. The latest Hollywood take on Mortal Kombat is here. This is Hollywood's third take on the eponymous game series. And yes, while the video game movies can be notoriously bad, the original has plenty of cult following and plenty of folks who are getting ready for a watch party. Now, Tim, usually we would do this in the after show section, but since this is video game related, I thought we would do it here. Have you seen Mortal Kombat?
I have not seen it because I was wrapping up a couple other shows, which we will talk about. but it's probably going to be one of my next things to watch. Probably by before this weekend, I'll have seen
So
it.
I have seen
What
it.
about you?
I watched it in 2 little showings because, Tim, that's how I have to do it. I have to divide movies up. I never have a full 2
Right.
hours to see. And I liked it. Is it the best movie you ever see? No. Is the story, like, very thin? Yes. But is it Mortal Kombat and are the fight scenes spectacular? Yes. And
There you go.
but the story is the story, Tim. You can't expect like Oscar-worthy storyline. You just can't. It's not that. It's Mortal Kombat. But I found it to be very fun to watch. It was a fun watch, and I look forward to them making a second one. And Tim, the rumors are that maybe Ryan Reynolds would be up for playing Johnny Cage in the second one.
Okay.
So I don't know. So Johnny Cage is not in this one. If you haven't seen it yet, that's not really a spoiler. I'm just telling you. Johnny Cage is not in this one, but there's been rumors that maybe Johnny Cage could be in the second one and that Ryan Reynolds might play him. So, in fact, Ryan Reynolds even posted a picture of him dressed up like Johnny Cage. If you haven't seen it on his social media pages. So
I did see that.
But you should watch it, Tim. I mean, just as an arcade fan, I have a big love for the cheesy 1995 movie. I really liked that and Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I know they're cheesy and they're bad, but I liked them just because they are, I kind of like them because they're cheesy and they're bad. But I found this iteration to be better. The fight scenes were spectacular. The special effects were great. And I hope that, I don't know if they've announced that there's going to be a sequel yet for sure, but I think they should make a sequel to it. I'll definitely watch it. So that's my review. And Delusional says he liked it. And it looks like nobody else has seen it yet. So there you go. Okay, now Tim, this is the big breaking news that we got kind of last minute here before we, just like a couple days ago. So I'll go ahead and put the slide up here. Twisted Quarter creates GoFundMe page to help Mike from Mike's Arcade Shop after he suffered a total loss due to fire. So Tim, if you've watched the live show at all, you know that we love Mike's Arcade. You'll know that we love Twisted Quarter. That we love these parts distributors, Tim. We refer a lot of people to them. And so Twisted Quarter created this GoFundMe for Mike's Arcade after announcing that he has suffered a total loss due to fire. And here's what we put on the slide. It was brought to our attention today that one of our good friends in the arcade industry, Mike from Mike's Arcade, suffered a total loss due to fire. He is temporarily setting up a new location and trying to rebuild. We have set up a GoFundMe page for Mike's Arcade. We asked the arcade community to donate as we're trying to raise $10,000 to help Mike rebuild. So if you guys have the means, please go to this GoFundMe page and donate something to them. Tim, I saw that Todd Tuckey from TNT Amusements donated $250. Which was very generous of him. We're going to be donating something very soon as well. And several other people have donated to him. Mike, through his website and through his part sales, has done so much for the community, Tim. I think it's only fitting that we should give a little something back to him and help him out, especially considering that he's had a total loss, which is just heartbreaking, to say the least. So if you have the means, please go to the GoFundMe page and donate a little something to the GoFundMe. Twisted Quarter also said that they will be donating a portion of their sales up to $1,000 to Mike's Arcade as well. So we referred you guys to a lot of different parts at Twisted Quarter this month in this show. So go ahead, go buy those, and you will also be helping to get Mike's Arcade back on its feet. So we hate to hear this. Our thoughts and prayers are with Mike as he rebuilds all of this, and hopefully we can help out by donating a little money and get them back and going again. Tim, this is just, like I said, heartbreaking to say the least.
Well, that kind of goes with my what I'm sorry for the distraction, guys. I received some breaking news. Johnson, you don't know, but one of my mentors at Chuck E. Cheese died, and he was actually the director of all games. So his name was Mike Tuck. That's what reminded me when you said Mike. So some tragedy on both ends. Traveled to Dallas, got COVID, went home, could not shake it. Over a month he had it, could not get any better, and he passed away a couple days ago. So our prayers with his family. Just found that out a little bit ago.
How long had he been with Chuck E. Cheese, Tim?
I think 34 years.
Golly.
Thank you. Wife and kids have come in. They've been outside. Say hi.
Hi. This is my Tim camera. This is my y'all camera. So, hi.
Okay.
Okay.
So, But I hate to hear that, Tim. That just really sucks, though.
Yeah, but I mean, really, yes, we're live. Really,
Yes, we're live.
really goes back to one of those guys that really worked his way up. Was a regional director when I worked there, and promoted. Basically, Mike Tuck was the head game guy at Chuck E. Cheese. So, very sad day for, I guess, the family and for former friends. Just in related stuff, we had a general manager, John Lucas. I believe his sister was married to him. So I also know that kind of side of the family too through him. So just prayers with the Tuck family.
Well, it sounds like a hard month for Mike's, Tim, and not to say anything funny about it, but obviously Mike Handland from Mike's Arcade, and then Mike Tuck, terrible. 34 years with Chuck E. Cheese is a long time, Tim, and I'm sure he was responsible for a lot of the games that made it into stores and things. And so, in one way or another, if you were in a Chuck E. Cheese, you were probably touched by what his contributions were to the company, correct?
Very, very much. In fact, you were, and even he was a lot involved with some of ICE and their design of games and stuff. So not just Chuck E. Cheese, a lot of games that are real popular right now. He had his hand in those.
Right. ICE, right, Tim?
Yes.
So, well, man, I hate to end the show on a downer, Tim. That's really rough. But just as a reminder, go to the GoFundMe page. We have a link down below in the show notes, and help Mike's Arcade out if you can. Donate something, guys. I mean, even a little bit. Doesn't have to be a lot. $10 goes a long way. If everybody contributed $10 that's watching this stream right now, I think that would go a long way towards helping Mike out. And then continue to keep your thoughts and prayers for the Tuck family, Tim. It sounds like, and just hoping that that they'll be okay through this big loss. It's a big loss, Tim, for sure.
Yeah, and for the company even, kind of an unexpected loss too, that, kind of leaves them a little bit scrambling during a kind of a crazy time.
And COVID's still out there, guys. I mean, even though, I don't know, I know a lot of you guys are from different parts of the world or even different parts of the United States. Here in Texas, we have relaxed a lot of our restrictions, and those of you guys who follow the news probably know that Florida has as well. But it doesn't mean that it's not still out there and that it still can't get you. So make sure you're taking precautions to keep yourself and your family safe, even though in a lot of places we're starting to relax those restrictions. Tim, I am now fully vaccinated.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
so as of yesterday, I am fully vaccinated, which is, I didn't want to push it too much with you coming over just yet because of that, but I am now 2 weeks from my second shot, and so I have gotten both my shots. I am fully vaccinated and ready to go to a baseball game at this point. So looking forward to that, and like I said, looking forward to having you here next month. So, which will be really good, and you'll get to play the Arcade 1-Up Attack from Mars and do all that kind of stuff, so looking forward to that. Well, Tim, I think that pretty much does it for the show. Anything else? I guess we'll move on to our announcements and things real quick before we wrap it up officially. A reminder, guys, we want your arcade-related videos. If you want some free advertising for your YouTube channel, we're looking for people to submit short videos, 10 minutes or less, about arcade-related topics. Send a link of your video to questions@arcaderepairtips.com, and our staff will review it. If we like it, we'll use it during one of our live show episodes. Make sure to put a plug-in for your channel so people will know where to find you. We look forward to seeing your submissions. So there you go. And Tim, we always like to remind people of that. We want to help other arcade channels out as much as possible. So this is our way of doing that. If you have a channel, especially if you're on the verge of getting monetized and you just need a little bit more to get to that point, send us over a video and we'll try to help you out with that. And then we have our general email, Tim, our contact information, of course. And the best way to get in touch with us, Tim, is, of course, questions@arcaderepairtips.com. Questions@arcaderepairtips.com. Put live show in the subject to get it mentioned on the show, Tim. And if you don't, we'll just we may pick yours for the show, or we may answer it, just depending. But the best way to get a hold of us is questions@arcaderepairtips.com. And then we have our YouTube page at youtube.arcaderepairtips.com, youtube.arcaderepairtips.com. Of course, if you're watching this live, you know that. But if you're listening to this on the podcast, you can check out the actual video of this show by going to youtube.arcaderepairtips.com. Comments from the last live show will be covered on the next episode. And again, if you're listening to this on the podcast and would like to hear the after show, you need to make sure you look up this video on our YouTube page at youtube.arcaderepairtips.com. Tim, we have our podcast email, podcast@arcaderepairtips.com. That still goes to Eric and Rusty, Tim, but, they've started to do some videos of their own. I don't know if you've seen some of the videos that they're doing now for their arcade. They've been doing that, so I don't know if they're ever going to get around to doing the podcast again, but you can email them if you want to see it at podcast@arcaderepairtips.com. And, of course, we've started to post a lot more than just the Q&A podcast there, Tim. Now we have the interviews podcast, of course, that we try to do in the middle of the month, and we have the audio of this live show there as well. And if you'd like to subscribe, make sure you visit our iTunes page at itunes.arcaderepairtips.com or stitcher.arcaderepairtips.com. And we can also be found on Spotify or Pocket Cast or whatever your podcast app is of choice. More than likely, we have a presence there. Now, we do appreciate the reviews on iTunes, Tim. I think we got one recently that was very nice, 5-star review, so we want to thank you for that. If you haven't reviewed us on iTunes and would like to, you can go to the iTunes page at itunes.arcaderepairtips.com and do that as well. And then, Tim, we have our social media pages. We have our Facebook page at facebook.arcaderepairtips.com and our Twitter feed at twitter.arcaderepairtips.com. Of course, Tim, we want to thank Mark for the hard work that he puts into posting, especially all the pinball news there, Tim, and rumors. And we try to update those with any kind of arcade-related news that we can find. So if you're interested in arcade-related news, Tim, that's what we specialize in on our social media feed. So again, facebook.arcaderepairtips.com, or if you would prefer Twitter, that's twitter.arcaderepairtips.com for all the latest arcade information and news. Tim, I think that about wraps it up. YouTube Punk says, Jonathan got the double tap. I did. So, little info real quick. I know this is kind of off topic, but first shot didn't faze me at all. I got the Pfizer. Second shot put me down for about 24 hours. After the second shot, I got a second shot Tuesday evening. Wednesday evening, I ran a fever, and I was achy and sleepy all day. Thursday, the fever went away, and I felt better, and then by Friday, I was back to normal. So I took a day off work Thursday because I felt so bad Wednesday night, but by Friday, I was back at work and fine. So that second shot can be a tough one, Tim. If you're going to get your second one, I've known several people that it put down. So, don't feel bad if it does that to you. That's common. Again, I got the Pfizer, but I don't care if you can get the Pfizer or the Moderna or the Johnson & Johnson. I do hope that all of you guys can get vaccinated. If you do the J&J, one shot, Tim. So don't even have to go back for a second. Yeah. Yeah, so you can find what they're doing around you. Tim, right now, you can pretty much get whichever one that you want just based on where you go. So, around here, most of the pharmacies have Moderna. The county locations that are actually run by the county here usually have Pfizer. And then the J&J can be found at some of the Walmart locations, Tim. So if you're wanting the J&J shot, you may look into that. But I'm double vaxxed and 2 weeks out. I've got my card. I'm good to go. So, good. But looking forward to, like I said, getting out among the living again and burning my mask at some point. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Right now, I'm still wearing my mask. And Tim, here's the deal. I don't think it's fair that employees have to wear masks and customers don't, to be honest with you. And so when I go to a drive-up window, if they have mask on, I put my mask on. I just feel like it's respectful. And it's not because I think necessarily the mask is magic or anything. It's just because I feel like if they're wearing masks, I should wear masks too. So, I mean, that's all it is. But, to each his own. And like I said, now that I'm double vaxxed, I don't know if I'm gonna do that anymore. We'll see. But I got it. It's not hard. You're gonna live through it, and I highly suggest that you do it. So let me see if I get anything else in the live chat real quick. YouTube Punk says, you want to see Jonathan at the Ranger game with his cardboard cutout? I thought about taking it with me, Tim. So I wonder if I have to pay a ticket for it. I don't know. So we'll see. But anyway, Tim's eating dinner here, guys. I just noticed.
I have to, guys. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Well, we're at the end of the podcast. Or we're in at the live show now. I think you're okay. But let's see what else we have here. Bobby says, I'm so glad I caught a live stream. Thanks again for the help, guys. You're welcome, Bobby. Thanks for being here, everybody. Man, we had a great live show tonight. Great live chat. You guys are great. I love interacting with y'all. It just you guys make the show. You really do. And Tim, I don't know if you noticed, but whenever we put, whenever I put out posts sometimes, I put a little thing at the end that says, it won't be the same without you. Guess what? The live show, it won't be the same without you. And it really is true, because me and Tim can sit here, but if we're just sitting here talking into a blank void, it's not very entertaining for anybody. I think that you guys really make the show. So thank you guys for joining us live and watching it. It really does make the show much more fun.
Yeah, I needed this tonight. Needed a break and get away from work and things. So thank you guys for coming and being part of it.
Absolutely. Delusional says he's all vaxxed too. He got the Pfizer. Good job, buddy. Let's see. Bobby says, I moved a Hollywood crane machine up 10 flights of stairs in a mask yesterday. I hate my mask more. Yeah, trying to do any kind of physical work with a mask sucks. Bad. I helped my cousin move. This was like 6 or 7 months ago. And we were moving furniture with mask on. Tim, you really get to a point where you can't breathe very well.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we can do away with these masks very soon. Go get your vaccines. Let's get this herd immunity going, Tim. And then let's get past this thing for sure. Let's see. Josh B. Yeah, I walked in and got the J&J today in like 5 minutes with no appointment. So far, I don't feel anything yet. Knock on wood. I've heard there's a lot less symptoms with the J&J, Tim, as far as that goes. So if you want to do the J&J, Johnson & Johnson's nice because it's a single shot and you don't have to worry about going back. So I don't blame you one bit for going the J&J route. Just go one route. It doesn't matter which one. Go one. So let's see. And I think we're caught up, Tim. But there you go. So I guess we're going to wrap it up here. Now, Tim, we got the after show coming up. Do you have anything you would like to tease? You sent me your list of shows, and I had heard of some of them, but I hadn't watched any of them. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about your shows. Tim, anything else you want to tease for the after show?
No, just stick around, hang in there. It's just no telling what we'll get into tonight. I think we got a smorgasbord of who knows what will come out.
We're going to talk some stocks. We typically do. We're going to talk what we did in April besides the live show, because Tim, it's been 5 weeks since we saw everybody last because of the way that the months fell. We're going to talk some sports like we always do, some cord cutting, Tim. And I have been watching a show that one of our people in the live chat recommended, YouTube Punk. And so I will talk about that show. And I will also talk about some other shows that I've been watching. And Tim, I watched something that was completely subtitled. And I really liked it. And I think everybody should watch it. But you'll have to tune in for the after show to find out what it is. So it's completely subtitled. And Tim, I am not the kind of guy who sits there and just reads stuff. I haven't seen a whole lot of subtitled movies in my life. But this one is worth it. And I'll tell you which one it is in the after show. Tim, anything else before we wrap it up?
No, again, was looking forward to doing this tonight just to get a break and escape. So thank y'all for participating, for being here. Even those of you who are watching later, we appreciate you guys. Keep those questions, keep fixing the games, and we'll see y'all again next month.
Absolutely. Or if you're here live, stay tuned for the after show. That'll be here in 10 minutes. But we want to thank you guys so much for being here. If you're watching this after the fact, thank you too. We love that. And hopefully you can be here for the next live show in June. Tim, thank you guys so much. And remember, here at Arcade Repair Tips, when you fix the game,
you play the game.
Take care, everybody, and we'll see you in June. Right. If you're here live, we'll see you, hopefully, for the after show. See you guys.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Arcade Repair Tips live show. All of our past episodes are available on our website at arcaderepairtips.com or on our YouTube page. This show is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please consult a professional before attempting to repair any coin-operated machines yourself. The preceding program is a Varcade Entertainment production.
And we're back. Hey, Tim.
Hey.
Hey, Tim's still eating his dinner, guys.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm so hungry, and it's 7:30 here, so.
No, go for it. Hey, you're not bothering me at all. So.
Well, I learned that if I don't eat, I'll get hangry in a little while, or I won't sleep right. So I gotta get this in.
Absolutely. So, while you're doing that, I'm going to go over some of the stuff that was in the live chat between when we went off the air for the regular show and for this after show, which we are in now.
Okay.
We got a let's see. Go in here. Dragon Punch Dave said, "Did you guys watch The Falcon and Winter Soldier yet, Tim? Did you watch it?
Yeah.
What'd you think?"
It was good.
I liked it. I watched it. We finished it up. We watched it as the episodes were released and really liked it. So we did finish it, and the end was good. I thought it was decent. I thought they did a good job of kind of shifting him from, not too many spoilers, but shifting him from Falcon to Captain America is basically what it's kind of about. So I enjoyed it. So
yeah.
Retro Review says, "You guys rock." Thank you. So we appreciate you saying that's very kind, and really, you guys rock. Because like I said, without you, there's no show. So, let's see. Bobby Broadway said, "Space Sweepers on Netflix is Netflix subs or English audio is a must-watch." And I haven't heard of it. Tim, have you heard of it?
Mm.
I don't know. Now, Tim, Delusional stepped up and gave us $20. And so we want to thank Delusional so much for that. That is awesome. Round of applause. Thank you so much. He says, "Keep up the great work." Thank you, Del. You're awesome, man. And we love your videos. If you guys haven't checked out Delusional's videos, Delusional's Arcade on YouTube, you should.
Okay.
Josh says, "I'll have to catch up on the after show recording. You guys have a great night." Let's see. Bobby says, "It's so good. It's like All-Star Citizen if you play that PC game." Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, and I did a little bit of streaming on the Arcade One Up while I was waiting for Tim. YouTube Punk said, "Did they 3D-fy any of it, or is it exactly like you would play on the PC?" It's exactly like you would play on the phone. Tim, there's a Williams Pinball app for Android, and it's pretty much the same type of thing. So if you've played that app, this is basically just a pinball cabinet version of that. So YouTube Punk says, "We don't want to see Tim get hangry." Now, Retro Reviews also said, "Long-time viewer, first time catching you guys live." Thank you for being here live. That's awesome. And
wow.
Yeah, so we love it when people are here live because it allows us to interact with you in a way that we don't get to do if you're just watching this. If you're watching this after the fact, it's kind of a one-way, right? It's just, you're just watching us. But if you're here in the live chat, it's a two-way conversation, and we really like that. So, okay, Tim, I think we're caught up on the live chat. So, Tim, let's just go ahead and talk about what we did in April. Now, Tim, my birthday was like at the beginning of the month, and that's kind of why I have this. It was kind of a birthday present to myself. So that's why we have the Attack from Mars here. So, and, you know, I wanted to try it out. I thought it'd be cool. So that was kind of my big birthday present. But, you know, obviously it wasn't a birthday like a whole lot of others just because, you know, we're still kind of sort of in lockdown. Things have kind of eased up a little bit. But, Tim, I went to my first restaurant in a while, which was nice, and actually sat inside. So, I mean, we have done that. And I mentioned, what'd you say?
What'd you go to?
Went to La Madeleine.
Oh, okay.
It was for my wife. Like she wanted to celebrate her birthday. We went to La Madeleine. We actually sat inside La Madeleine. So, if you guys don't know, it's kind of a French bistro style restaurant. For you guys who don't know La Madeleine, my wife really likes it. So, we went there and we actually got to sit inside. So that was the first inside experience I've had since the pandemic. So that was good. That's kind of back to normal. Of course, we all had our mask on when we weren't eating, but you know, it is what it is. I mentioned at the end of the show, I'm double vaxxed now, so that's really good. Hopefully I'll be able to go to baseball games here pretty soon. I'm trying to think of what else we did in April. It seems like a lot went on, Tim, but then when I turn around, the next live show's here. So, you know.
April, this whole year is flying by really fast.
Absolutely. Maybe a little bit too fast. We need to slow down a little bit. But into school's coming up for my kids, Tim, and I know for your wife who's a teacher, so you know, that's always kind of a real busy time too. So we're getting kind of ready for that kind of stuff. We had a little bug go around our house. We got a little sick with something non-COVID related. Of course, I mentioned I was down with the vaccine, but during that same time, my son got like a little cough and a little fever. So and apparently there's a little cough thing that was going around his school. And so, like, he got it, then my daughter got it, and, you know, of course, the rest of us ended up getting, like, a form of it. And so, there for a while, I wasn't feeling great with the vaccine and then getting a little cold. For about a week, I was down. So, wasn't fun, but back to normal now, thankfully. So, Tim, sad you didn't go to Dairy Queen, is what YouTube Punk says.
Yeah, you should have.
No, I think... Tim said I didn't go to Dairy Queen. Well, Dairy Queen, you know... we were looking for somewhere to actually sit down. I still think of Dairy Queen as a fast food restaurant, Tim.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. Like, there's no Dairy Queens near me, I feel like. There is the one that's down by, there's a Starbucks, and there's one down here.
You can't get in there.
What? Yeah, I know. It's very hard to get into. Yeah. So, and there's not a Dairy Queen on my way to work, which, I mean, that's most of the time when I'm grabbing food. It's between house and work. And it's like, if you guys would put one somewhere around there, I would definitely hit it more often, so... But
they need one over there.
Yeah.
You're getting the juices though.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I saw that. So I mean, there's other stuff going in over there, but I don't have a Dairy Queen over there. So I go to Dairy Queen very rarely, unfortunately, Tim. And it's not because I don't want to. It's just because you guys aren't in the way to anything. So
yeah,
I go to Popeyes more than Dairy Queen. I'm sorry.
Man, Popeyes is good though.
Oh, it is good, man. They're black and tenders, Tim. Man, love those things. And those biscuits. Ooh, don't get me started. So I think Popeyes won like the best fast food chain last year, according to like Eater.com or something.
That's the best chicken sandwich. I don't care what anybody says.
So you think I have not had their chicken sandwich there, Tim? I like the black and tenders because I try not to do the fried food too much, like the deep fried food. So
yeah, you gotta try it though.
Okay, is it good?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, like KFC's got their own chicken sandwich now. It's like everybody's got a chicken sandwich. So
yeah.
Well,
it's
better than Chick-fil-A.
Oh gosh, sorry. I know it's Jesus chicken, but it ain't no comparison.
Sounds good. Well, I might have to try it. There's a Popeyes right by where I work, so that's why I end up going there quite a bit. I do Jack in the Box typically. I do Taco Bell. I do Whataburger because you know it's around. Anything that's on my way, like I said. So, but yeah, there's no Dairy Queen anywhere like around that area. So yeah, they need something over there, Tim. Tell them to put one in.
Okay.
But as far as April goes, I can't think of anything else that really went on except for our little colds and birthday at the beginning of the month and some other things. But that was about it. Anything for you, Tim?
Oh, doing a little remodeling in the back. I got some lights for my back porch that hang, and I got a new ceiling fan out there. Getting ready to put my TV out there, so I'm working on my back patio a little bit.
Sounds good.
When I have time, which has not been much lately. So I've been working a lot of hours.
Yeah, we did put a plywood roof on our playhouse. It used to have a tarp on it, but man, first hailstorm that came through, of course that tarp went to pieces. So I put a plywood roof on, and Tim, I bought the wood back in November, and it's a good thing too, because if I would have bought it now, it'd be broke. So because I don't know if you guys have seen the price of lumber.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
I built those games when I did.
Yeah. Oh, Retro Review says, "What's Whataburger? Whataburger." So come on. So I said it right, Tim.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do say Whataburger around here.
Yeah.
Whataburger. That's what
that is a Texas tradition right there.
Exactly.
You gotta know.
So,
although it's headquarters in Chicago now, which we're not too happy about.
I remember reading that. Yeah. YouTube Punk says, anybody remember the chicken big from churches? You remember that, Tim? Back in the late 80s.
We got a churches, a couple of them.
I don't know if I remember that. That must have been a chicken sandwich or something. I'm not sure.
Must have been.
So, he says it was the best chicken sandwich. There you go. I used to eat at churches a lot, but I haven't been to churches in a while. Typically, I'm a Popeyes guy. But Popeyes and churches are the same company, right?
I don't know.
I think they are.
I don't think so.
I think they are.
Popeyes out of Louisiana.
Yeah. Well, I think they're owned by the same group now.
Oh, okay, maybe.
Yeah. So, but the other thing we do for chicken, of course, is Cane's. My daughter absolutely loves Raising Cane's. If you guys are not familiar with Raising Cane's, it's pretty good. Tim introduced me to it, actually, when we were in Louisiana one time picking up an arcade game. So, good stuff. And I have one literally like walking distance from the house, which is terrible. Or good, depending on how you look at it. So, but Raising Cane's is good chicken. Good chicken. Tim, so I thought I was done picking up PS5s, but then my brother texted me. He's like, "Hey, can you help me get a PS5?" I was It's like, dude, I was done. I wasn't going to get any more
Right.
PS5s. Why are you calling me?
Your brother, like he could have got one a long time ago.
I offered one to him like several times. Okay, it's not like he didn't have a chance to grab one, but
Right.
I think all that stimulus money, and then his PS4 was apparently starting to go out, and he was really looking forward to, I think, the Final Fantasy VII remake is what it is,
Okay.
or something like that. And so he's like, I'm just going to buy a PS5. I was like, okay. And literally about a week and a half later, we got him one from Sony, from the PlayStation Store. So
Okay.
I got 11 PS5s now. So I'm very proud of that. But it's I'm done right now. I think Jesus himself would have to ask me for a PS5 before I'll go finding another one. So, but anyway, it was fun while it lasted. But man, it was a lot of work. So. I'm done with PS5 hunting for a while. I don't think they're going to get any easier to get, though, guys, unfortunately. So good luck if you're out there trying to find them. They're not easy to get. So let's see. Retro Review says he's got a Raising Cane's, and he says it's good. Yes. Oh, Alex says he'll take a PS5. Sorry, Alec, you're out of luck. You're out of luck, bud. So... yeah, YouTube punk. Just when you think you're out, they pull you back in. Yeah, exactly. Just like the mafia. That's how it works around here. So, no, if it wouldn't have been my brother, I wouldn't have done it. I love my brother, and so I mean, I did it for him because we're tight, and so. But if it would have been anybody else, I probably would have told him, here's how you can get one, and good luck. But like I said, when it's your brother, you do things for your brother you don't do for other people. So.
Right.
It's just the way it is. So, and we were able to get him one, which was fantastic. So, I mean, and it only took a week and a half, which was, a lot shorter than what I thought it would be. So, anyway. Okay, Tim, let's pivot to investments. Speaking of buying things that increase in value, like PS5s, let's talk about investments. So,
Very good month.
Good month.
I sold
Dogecoin, right?
I sold it. Yeah. So,
You're smart.
But it did go up even a lot higher after I sold it. But I took my money and ran.
Okay, hang on, Tim. You said something that everybody needs to repeat. Repeat after me. There's nothing wrong with taking the money and running. There's nothing wrong with turning a profit. You don't have to turn the maximum profit. Turn a profit.
Yeah.
Sell when you
And
can.
this was the good profit, second most I'd ever made on any stock. And so, at that point, it was just time. It was time to do what I needed to do. It dipped down, and it came back up. I did sell a little early, I'll agree, but there's no early. I mean, there's no down when you're up that high.
Exactly. So, Tim, what don't you want to be doing? You don't want to be holding what?
Holding the.
You
bag.
don't want to be holding the bag, and that's what it comes down to, guys. Take the profits. Take the profits. So
it seems like a lot of retail investors and the Reddit boys are pushing Doge coins up. So if you, there's still probably some money to be made there, and I may jump back in with the profits that I did make. So I'm interested in that, but really happy because my son bought in at the same time I did, and even though he's at military camp right now in Rhode Island, he was able to make a bigger profit than I did actually. So. Pretty good day when you can turn that one around with minimum effort and research I've had to do,
Absolutely. So congratulations, Tim. I did not have any, so I was not able to capitalize on that. But I'm still. It's not that I'm weary of crypto. I just am weary of anything that's not Bitcoin or Ethereum.
Right, and that's the other two. The other money I'm holding and have not sold. I bought some Ethereum when it was 1,400. I didn't buy a whole share. I'll say that up front. Bought a partial share, but we're talking about percentage gains. I think it was at 3,500 today or something. So definitely doubled my money there. That's a good day too. So but I'm holding on to it. I think it could literally. Have you seen the newest thing, John? We talked about the things they're attaching. My mind's drawing a blank here, John. The coins that they're attaching to them.
NFTs.
Yeah, NFTs. Did you see now what they're doing? People that are, let's say there's a famous meme of you. You got some funny face. The one in particular is, they call her Disaster Girl. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I saw this.
Yeah, she sold hers with an NFT for $500,000. So I think that stuff like that, as it gets more popular, we will possibly have one on our show next time, or one time. You guys can, if you want to purchase it, it's on sale right now for only $200,000.
So let's talk about NFTs for a second. Tim, your NFT does not have to sell for that much in order for you to make money. Another thing about NFT is that every time it sells, the creator gets a cut. So if the guy who bought that for, what'd you say, 500,000?
500,000.
If he sells it again, the creator gets a cut of it again.
Wow.
And then if that person sells it, the creator gets a cut of it again. So the creator of an NFT gets a cut every time the NFT is sold. So yes, that's a lot of money, 500,000, but think about all the money that you can make. Let's say you just sell something for $1 and then it just gets sold 1,000,000 times, Tim, and then you get a cut of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That sounds like a great idea.
Right, exactly. So, but I mean, this may end up being something that music artists go for.
Sports.
Exactly, and stuff like that, because like music is kind of, to be honest with you, they got the short end of the stick for a very long time because MP3 and things. But if every time that an album is sold, they get another cut of it, like even if it's a second or third or fourth sale, then the artist is still making money off of it even after like the initial sale. Because up to this point, the artist has only made money at the initial sale. So I think for artists, it's going to be a huge deal because of that. Now, YouTube Punk says NFT more like no thank you. I understand. But, you have to look at it as kind of like a baseball card of whatever it is that it is. It's a unique thing that there's only so many of. And then once you have it, you have it. Okay? And you are the only one of however many who have that. And so, from that perspective, and then the creator who actually made the NFT, they get a cut every time it sells. So, I mean, it really benefits creators. It benefits the people who own the NFTs because there's a limited amount of them. So there could be money to be made there. As we've already seen, there is some money to be made. And so, am I saying it's like the 100% future, everything's going NFT? I'm not sure about that yet. Is it going to be something that's going to probably maintain popularity for a while? I think it will. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely not discard it like we did Bitcoin 10 years ago.
Agreed. So,
when we could have bought it at $10.
Agreed. So, that for sure. Now, Tim, I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of my safe investing over here and some plans that people can do in order to just keep their money parked but actually make something off of it. Because, Tim, I don't know if you've seen interest rates lately, but they're kind of in the toilet.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you've seen your savings account interest lately, but you're probably under 1%.
Yes, it's low.
So what can you do in order to correct that? Well, one thing you can invest in is high yield dividend ETFs, Tim, which I know sounds so great, but that's what I did with some of my money is I threw it into some high yield dividend ETFs with Schwab and Vanguard. And these ETFs, not only are they yielding more than 1% gains per year, but they are also yielding dividends.
Wow.
Okay? So you have a stock that goes up around 5 to 10% a year, plus you're getting dividend income off of that same, or it's not, it's a stock, it's an ETF. You have an ETF that that's gaining value every year, 5 to 10% a year, plus not only that, you're yielding a dividend off that as well. So if you guys are looking at retirement, if you own like 100, 200, 300 shares of one of these ETFs, Tim, plus the dividend amounts that you're getting, you could have some nice little retirement income after a while. If you continue to invest in that, continue to buy up these dividend ETF style. So, and there's a lot of people out there who recommend this for a retirement plan because the dividend guarantees that you're always going to have a steady amount of income coming in. So if you're looking for long-term investment, that's what I would say. Tim, S&P ETFs, S&P 500 ETFs are very good to invest in because right now the S&P is tracking pretty well. Typically, they're heavy in things like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and things like that. So an ETF, guys, is just basically a conglomeration, kind of like a mutual fund of stocks. And so you can see how the ETF is divided up if you contact the entity that manages it, like Vanguard or Schwab, for instance. But if you're looking for places to park your money where you don't have to worry about a lot of risk, but you want to gain more than the 1% or less that you're getting on your savings account, take a really good look at ETFs, and especially high yield ETFs. Those are really good places to park your money, and they're fairly safe. And you can, if you're looking at the dividend ETFs, you're going to make some money on top of the gains that the stock makes as well. What do you think about that, Tim?
I think that's a great, and in fact, if you're listening and you don't really know what we're talking about, you can do some research, but if you're just got money sitting in a savings account, you're really losing out on a lot of free money.
You're actually losing money, Tim, because you got to think about the rate of inflation, guys, is around 3 to 4%. If you're only getting 1% a year on your money, then there's 2 to 3% that you're not accounting for. And so things like ETFs can help you make up the difference and hopefully have your money grow at the same rate or better than inflation. And
or you can buy Joe coin like me and get 36%.
And yes, and if you can do that, man, more power to you. But as you know, Tim, volatility.
It can go either way, right?
Exactly. So, again, bag holding, Tim. Bag holding. You don't want to be bag holding. Don't want to be doing it, guys. So, now we should say that all of this is just free advice, and it's worth what we're telling you it is. So,
it's worth very little.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So this is free advice, and so we are not professionals, and it's totally for entertainment purposes. But we're just trying to give you the things that we found that work for us. But again, if you lose money, it's not our fault. Is that an easy way to say it?
That's it.
I've done very well, though, with Schwab, Vanguard ETFs lately. I love Vanguard, guys. Vanguard is, I have money with Vanguard, and then I have money in Vanguard funds on Webull, which is the platform that me and Tim like to use. And so
I use Stash to buy ETFs with.
Yeah.
And it's easy, real easy.
Webull's easy too. I mean, if you type in ETF, you'll see a ton of ETFs out there. But do your research on each ETF. Make sure you know what they're invested in. You don't have to know, but it's good to know. You can look at a 5 or 10 year track record on most of these, and you can see if they're going up 5 or 10% a year. Or what they're going up per year. You can figure it out pretty quick. Most of those, like S&P 500 based ETFs, are probably going to gain 5 to 10% a year just because of the companies they're invested in. So, and they're very safe because they're big companies that everybody knows. And so, but make sure you check out before you invest. Make sure you do your own due diligence and look into whatever you want to invest in.
I'm investing in some commodity ETFs because the price of everything is going up, and scarcity because of COVID and other factors, weather and things that we've had. If you'll notice, like you said, the price of lumber, things like that are involved in an ETF that you can buy. But commodity ETFs right now, I'm really worried about the cost of goods, shortages of stuff like ketchup and things like that.
Absolutely. And if you ever watch Trading Places with Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy, Tim, you'll know a little bit about commodities trading. So.
Yeah. That's true.
Freshly squeezed orange juice, Tim. Freshly squeezed orange juice. If you have not seen Trading Places, you should go watch it right now. So, language. Jamie Lee Curtis, I think, takes her clothes off at one point. So, not for the kids, guys, but it is a very good movie. So, you've seen Trading Places, I assume, Tim.
Oh, yeah. Many times.
Yes, it's great. You should watch it.
Probably got memorized.
You should watch it. It's great. Oh, the part where Dan Aykroyd eats the fish through the beard, Tim. That part always gets me. I love that part. So anyway, Trading Places, you should watch that movie. It is about commodities investing. But Tim is right. With the cost of everything going up, commodities are a good place to look as well. ETFs are great, though, because they're diversified, Tim, like mutual funds. And so you don't have all your money just going into one company. You have it going into several companies. And when you do that, it limits your risk quite a bit. So it also limits your gains. But you got to remember, it's kind of like, here's the big volatility scale, and ETFs you're going to waver between this little area right here, whereas with like Dogecoin, and you're going to waver within this little area, right? So, I mean, it's just the amount of volatility that you want. So, but again, having your money in a savings account right now is just not a great idea just because you're not gaining anything off of it right now. At least look into you don't have to put the whole amount of your savings account into the stock market, but at least put some of it in there to help hedge off the inflation for sure.
Right.
Okay, are we done with stocks?
I think so.
Okay, and again, we're not professionals. Invest at your own risk. Okay, we're done. Let's see. Sports talk, Tim. You been watching any?
Man, I have not. I've watched just some highlights and stuff. I've been pretty excited for the Rangers. I know they're not great, but to me they're performing better than I think they should be. Therefore, with the team they got.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
We were like that last year too,
they're
Tim. Just as
playing who they have.
Yeah, we were like that too at the beginning of the year, Tim. Just as a reminder, and then we sucked it up later. So I'm hoping that we can keep it up. Our team is not terrible. Our pitching is rough, but it's starting to come together a little bit.
That's what I'm saying.
So we're a game under 500 right now, which isn't terrible.
Yeah, we're having flashes of what could be.
Right, exactly. Isn't terrible. So,
and the draft, I thought the draft was interesting. Did you watch some of it, or at least follow some of
I
that?
did. I saw that and we're talking about the NFL draft, I assume. I saw that the Cowboys traded down, and got, I forget who that we got first round.
We got a whole new defense.
We did, basically.
We got Parsons.
Yeah, that's right.
State linebacker, and then Sean Lee retires right afterwards. So that it told you they knew what they were doing, kind of. But we got a whole new defense.
So our defensive coordinator now is the guy that put together the whole thing in Seattle. Oh, what's his name?
Yeah.
The Legion of Boom. Is that what it was? The little or whatever it was, the little thing that they had in Seattle, the defense there. So I trust him. I think he knows what he's doing. And you're right, we drafted a lot of defensive players, and I'm hoping that's gonna bode well for us. I don't know. We'll find out. I love Sean Lee, Tim. I have a Sean Lee jersey, but I'm gonna miss him a lot. And then we're letting Vander Esch go apparently too. I don't know if you saw that.
Dan Quinn.
That's him.
Dan Quinn is his name.
Yeah. So Cowboys fans here, guys. So we'll just see. Here's the thing about being a Cowboys fan. It used to be really awesome to be a Cowboys fan, Tim. In the 90s, man, it was great being a Cowboys fan. It has not been good since then. 2000s have not treated us very well at all, Tim. In fact, we get heckled so much for being Cowboys fans now. I don't even know why I still stick with the team, but I do for some reason. So hopefully we win. Looking forward to it. We'll just see, I guess. So. Regular Show says, strange season so far in baseball. The good teams aren't doing very well to start. And that is true. I've noticed that. Now, Dodgers and Padres notwithstanding, Dodgers are doing pretty well. I think they had a little slump there for a while, but man, they're going to come back. They're the Dodgers. Padres are awesome guys. Golly, so much talent on that team.
Stink.
Yeah, the Yankees stink. And Tim, that makes me so happy. I could not be more happy about that. The only thing is we traded Rougned Odor to the Yankees, Tim, and I liked Rougned a lot. And I'm going to miss him. But I hope he does really well with the Yankees. And, they made him shave his awesome beard. And he looks like a 12-year-old now. So
he does not look the same.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, yes, the Yankees stink. I'm happy about that. Boston is really good. I'm happy about that, too. Because when I'm not rooting for the Rangers, I'm rooting for Boston. I can't root for the Yankees ever. So, and I know a lot of you guys might be Yankees fans, but I just don't have it in me. Guys, they treated us dirty so many years back in the 90s, and then we finally got them in 2010, Tim, if you remember that. So, I just can't root for the Yankees. I'll never be able to root for the Yankees, period. So, but I can root for every other team, just not the Yankees. But yeah, it's been interesting. Tim, you kept up with the NBA at all?
No.
Yeah.
Don't even. Just seeing the box scores or standings. I don't even know who's in first place right now.
Mavericks are on the bubble. I think we're going to creep into the playoffs, but it's going to be. I think right now, if season were to end today, I think we'd be in. But we still have some games that we need to win in order to clinch, and so I'm looking forward to seeing them go deep in the playoffs. Tim, I was looking forward to seeing the Dallas Stars go deep in the playoffs, except they dropped their last 5 games and aren't going to make it in. So,
wow,
Dallas Stars, man, we were in the Stanley Cup last year, Tim. We were in the Stanley Cup last year.
Not even making the playoffs the next year.
Yeah, exactly. So heartbroken, guys. Here's the deal. I was not a big hockey fan for the longest time, but probably about 2 years ago, I started to get into it. Tim, hockey is fun to watch. It is the most fun sport to watch, in my opinion. Because you know what the thing about hockey is? It never stops. Never stops. It's not like football where there's a play and then you stop, right? It's not like that in hockey. You're constantly going. It's fun to watch. So if you're not watching hockey, if you never thought about it before, you should watch it. I have a lot of family that's Canadian, Tim. So, of course, they're like huge hockey fans. I love talking hockey with them. But I've really enjoyed watching hockey. And the Dallas Stars are typically a very good team around here. So just not going to make it to the playoffs this year, unfortunately. So, what are y'all's favorite baseball, hockey, and basketball and football teams? I want to know. Like, who do you guys root for? If you're in the live chat, let us know. Tim, a couple of cord-cutting things before we move into the actual shows we've been watching. Last month we said that HBO Max is going to be moving to an ad-supported tier. We now know that tier is going to come out in June. It's going to be $10 a month, but will not include the theatrical releases like Mortal Kombat. So, but Tim, you still have HBO Max, correct?
Yeah,
you like it?
Still watching it. Yeah, I've just kept on to it. Just seems like they keep coming out with some good stuff. Plus the movies, you know.
It is really good. It can be a Netflix replacement. I think one month I mentioned like you could do HBO Max for a month, cancel it, go to Netflix for a month, cancel it, go to HBO Max for a month. If you did that, that's actually pretty smart in my opinion. Because, I mean, both of them have incredible content. And you really don't want to miss any of the content on either of them. Tim, I get HBO Max as part of my cell phone subscription through AT&T. But if I mean, it's worth paying for to me. So, what about you?
I think so. We have both, and you're right. I'll kind of get on HBO for a while. I'll watch some of my shows there, and then I'll be like, okay, now I'll go back to Netflix. Oh, that looks good. I'll put it on the queue, and I'll, so I'm just kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, I do too. So they're both worth the money. You don't have to subscribe to both at the same time, though. Subscribe to Netflix 1 month, subscribe to HBO Max the next, or do a 6 month. 6 months with HBO Max, 6 months with Netflix. I promise you won't be disappointed. There's good stuff to watch on both of them. Now, Tim, the weakest of all of these streaming services that are run by these major corporations to me is Paramount Plus. I just don't feel like there's a lot of stuff there. Well, they announced today that they're going to be doing new movies weekly now. And that they've got the rights, or there's a theatrical release with Mark Wahlberg, and I can't remember the name of it at the moment, that they were going to put out in theaters, but now it's going to be on Paramount Plus. So they're trying to up their game like HBO Max has. They're trying to put those high-quality movies on Paramount Plus. But, Tim, there's just not a whole lot of content there outside of Star Trek. That may be the only thing that I'm interested in on Paramount Plus that I really want to watch. I know that's got a lot of Nickelodeon content. People have mentioned old Nickelodeon shows, and I like those shows. But, I like to subscribe to services that have new stuff coming out on a regular basis because I want to watch the new stuff. And so, like, a huge back catalog doesn't necessarily mean much to me. I want something that has the new stuff. So, so Paramount Plus is probably not in my wheelhouse, but if you have it, more power to you. I feel like it's probably the least impressive of all the different major streaming services right now. So,
I agree.
And Peacock is kind of in the same boat with them. There's a lot of great stuff on Peacock to watch, but they have a free tier on Peacock, which is really nice, and it's kind of something that I feel like you could do month to month. Now, with that said, Peacock now has all the WWE content, so if you're a wrestling fan that was subscribing to the WWE network before, Peacock is the same price, but you get wrestling and all the other content now. So if you're in that boat, you should subscribe to it. But other than that, I don't think the pay for tier on Peacock is really worth it. I'm on a trial, right? I'm like on 1 year. I paid like $30 for a year of Peacock, and I'm still on that. But I don't know if it's worth it. Now, I did sign up for Apple.
I'm going to get this phone call, John. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hey.
I want to check in with the live chat guys while Tim's taking that call. Let's see. Rexer Show says because Romo stunk. Romo gets a lot of flack. He was better, I think, than a lot of people gave him credit for. But, at the time, he was not very revered around here. But I think he was better than people gave him credit for. I don't know how good the team was. The teams were around Romo, though, Rexer Show. So, and he says, best live sport to watch hockey, too. And I agree. I mean, hockey is great to watch. Very few commercials, and it's fast. And the overtime and the shootout is so much fun in hockey. You should watch it. Alec Hudson, MK movie was decent. We talked about that in the regular show this month. Alec, if you want to hear more of our thoughts on it, you can rewind a bit. We gave a little bit of them. Regular show, the Roku and Google dispute is crazy. Not sure if you guys know about that. We do know about that. So Roku has pulled all of the YouTube channels off of their platform. Now, if you had them installed already, they're still there, but you cannot install them again if you didn't already install them, and it's because they have a dispute with Google, and Google wants them to make some changes to their platform to accommodate them. I'm glad that Roku is standing their ground on this because I feel like the changes they're asking for, it's not that they're necessarily unreasonable. I just think that it's stuff that they don't need access to. I mean, Roku owns the platform. They want them to support some newer video codecs, which I understand, but it will increase the cost of the hardware for Roku, and Roku is all about keeping costs down. So, and especially in a chip shortage, I don't know if now's the right time to demand that. So we're going to see how all of that shakes out between Roku and Google. But it's just really sad for people who have YouTube TV. We had YouTube TV for a while, really enjoyed it. And the only reason I went back to cable is because they gave me a better deal. But it's sad for those of you who do have YouTube TV. If you haven't already downloaded the apps, you kind of lost out and you won't be able to watch on Roku. So very, very rough there. Let's see. Why isn't Tim getting off his phone and paying attention? I don't know, Brewers Arcade. You know, he has calls that he has to take sometimes. You know, you got to remember he is a general manager there at Dairy Queen, so sometimes things are important. And kind of a little behind the scenes in between the live show and the after show here, he had several people contact him about different things. So he's probably trying to handle some of those things right now. But I tell you what, while we're waiting, I'll go ahead and if you guys want to talk about some of the stuff that you're watching. Rexer says Roku is doing the right thing, standing ground, and if Google doesn't support YouTube TV, I'll be canceling YouTube TV. That's a very principled stance, Rexer Show, to take. There are good alternatives to YouTube TV, such as Hulu with live TV, that I would, you should definitely look into. Sling is not bad either. They don't have locals on Sling, which is kind of a downside to that, but there are alternatives to YouTube TV. But I will say that YouTube TV has a great interface, and their DVR is great. It is a great service. I really enjoyed having it. And the only reason we went back was because of the better deal with cable. So, but anyway. So I did mention that YouTube Punk mentioned a show last month that he was watching. And it's a show that I picked up while I wasn't feeling so good with the vaccine and other things. I started watching. And that is Invincible on Amazon Prime. The season finale happened, I guess it was last week. It is good. Oh my goodness. It was way better than I thought, YouTube Punk. I enjoyed it so much. I think it's a solid 8. But if you're a fan of the old Justice League cartoons or anything like that, you will really, really enjoy this. It is basically like the old Justice League cartoon, but told with more graphic violence and a more elaborate storyline. And I loved it. I do feel like some of the storytelling was a little rushed. I don't know if that was because they had a limited amount of episodes that they had to work with, and so they kind of had to cram a lot into each of those episodes. The voice talent in Invincible is incredible. They got so many great actors, not just voice actors, but great actors. Mark Hamill does a voice in it, which is really cool. But I felt like the voice acting was great. And I know a lot of you guys have Amazon Prime. It's worth it. Watch Invincible. Like I said, the animation will remind you of like Justice League cartoons, but I really enjoyed it, and I want to thank YouTube Punk for that recommendation, because it was definitely something that I enjoyed while I was watching it. I'm really looking forward to seasons 2 and 3. They've already renewed it for the next 2 seasons, which is great. So look forward to that. But if you haven't seen it, watch Invincible on Amazon Prime. Good stuff. YouTube Punk says, is it the regular YouTube app still good on Roku? It's still there as long as you've already downloaded it. If you have not downloaded the YouTube or YouTube TV apps yet, and you try to re-download them again, you won't be able to, because they've only basically pulled it for people who are trying to download the apps who haven't already downloaded them in the past at this point. Now, they may end up disabling the YouTube apps altogether on the Roku platform at some point. We don't know when that's going to happen, but it may be coming soon. So, you may want to prepare for that. Maybe buy an Amazon Fire TV stick or 2 just to be on the safe side, just in case Roku does end up pulling their support. But as of right now, they haven't completely pulled it. You can still access YouTube TV and YouTube, but there may come a point where they disable the channels if they don't meet a resolution. So YouTube Punk says it was slow at first. Voice talent is rock solid. It was slow at first, but I feel like they did so well with the reveal. So the reveal in the final episodes, man, the way that they worked up to it, the slowness pays off. It really does. And, you don't want to know everything up front. You really don't. You want to be... Storytelling should take place slowly. It should be revealed. And they did a really good job with the reveal of kind of like what the whole thing was from the first episode, where there's a big surprise ending on the first episode, and then they kind of reveal why that happened in the first episode, and in the end you kind of get that whole, it kind of all comes to a head, and culminates in a really awesome fight scene. So I mean, if you haven't checked it out, I can't say enough about it, man. Invincible, Amazon Prime, it was great, and I think that's something I don't know that Tim would like so much. Probably not in Tim's wheelhouse as far as stuff goes. I don't know. He maybe we can ask him, but. A couple other things that we've been watching, guys. We've been watching The Moody's on Fox. It's got Dennis Leary in it, along with several other actors that you would recognize. But it's basically a family sitcom where all the adult children still live with their parents due to different unforeseen circumstances, and it's really funny. Golly, it's if you like sitcoms, I'm a sucker for good sitcoms. If you like sitcoms, The Moody's is really funny. They did a limited Christmas version of The Moody's a couple years ago, and this is kind of a continuation of that. But I think all those episodes are available to stream on the Fox Now app, so you can watch them there. But The Moody's is really funny. It's got a lot of funny parts in it, and one of the guys in it was a bad guy in Arrow. His last name's Segura, I think. And he is just hilarious in it. Going from a bad guy in Arrow to playing this comedy part is fantastic. Just shows his range as an actor. But The Moody's on Fox is really worth watching if you haven't watched it. I think it's on hiatus right now, maybe coming back here in a couple of weeks. But you can catch up, I think, on the Fox Now app. But I have my actual DVR still recording those, so make sure you check that one out. If you have HBO Max like we were talking about, me and my wife have been watching The Nevers, which comes on Sunday nights in like their premiere spot. And The Nevers is really good. It's basically X-Men if it took place in like Victorian London is basically what it is. So my wife is big into things like Downton Abbey and different shows like that. And of course, I'm big into superhero shows and X-Men and things like that. But this is basically Victorian London meets X-Men. And so if you like that, then you'll like The Nevers. There's nothing much more to say about it. The fight scenes are incredible. The story's pretty decent. There's a big reveal at the end of season 2 that's good. But so far, really enjoying The Nevers on HBO Max. That's another one that we've been watching. Let's talk about a documentary. A couple of things on Hulu, guys, that I've been watching. So, WeWork. If I say that to you, have you heard of WeWork before? It was a company. They were going to be this $47 billion unicorn. They were going to sublease all these little, individual real estate, floors, and then give everybody their own space to create and kind of create a community of creators, if you will. Well, there's a documentary on Hulu called WeWork, or the making and breaking of a $47 billion unicorn. And it goes into how WeWork went from basically this huge big deal to nothing all at the same time. So if you're not familiar with the story of WeWork and you'd like to know more about it, you should watch the documentary on Hulu. It was great. I knew a little bit about WeWork going into it, but not enough to really form an opinion, I guess. But after watching the documentary, I definitely have a better understanding of kind of what all happened to WeWork and why it's where it is today. So again, WeWork, or the making and breaking of a $47 billion unicorn on Hulu, is a great documentary. YouTube Punk says, any idea when the Umbrella Academy returns? No, and here's the thing about the Umbrella Academy. I tried to watch the first episode and maybe the second episode, and I just, for some reason, couldn't get into it. I don't know what it is about Umbrella Academy you'd think it'd be right up my alley, and maybe I need to give it a second chance, but I'm a huge superhero fan. I feel like it should be, right, like I said, right up my alley. It seems like it was something I would definitely watch, and I just couldn't get into it. So I'm not sure when the second season's coming. Maybe I'll give it another shot, but I just don't know. It just didn't click with me, and sometimes that happens, but. Okay, I promise, since Tim's not here, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the movie I teased, or the documentary I teased at the end of the live show. So this is on Hulu, and it's called Collective. Okay, Collective. And this was up for several, I think it was up for Best Documentary, several awards at the Academy Awards. But Collective is basically a documentary about a fire that breaks out in a concert venue in Romania, and then all the stuff that happens because of that. And so this fire breaks out at this concert venue in Romania, and all of the burn unit victims get taken to a Romanian hospital. But the Romanian hospital did not have the capacity or the staff to take care of everybody. And so it ends up that several of the burn victims who really didn't have bad burns on them ended up dying because the care was so poor. And so this documentary goes into these reporters who basically unravel all of this and find out, well, why was the care so poor? Well, it turns out that funds, that were being diverted to different people or different places, and these reporters basically are doing all this reporting, and they're getting information from different people at different organizations. Apparently the disinfectants that they were using were diluted, and so people got infections. But I mean, look, I don't know what you think about like government-run healthcare. I mean, you can think what you want to, but after watching something like this does not put a very good light on government-run healthcare. So if that's something that you're advocating for, you may not want to watch it. But at the same time, it kind of gives you some idea of what the realities are behind that. When you have politicians running a healthcare system, it kind of shows you some of the corruption that can be had, because there was definitely a ton of corruption in the system. With that said, the guy who ends up taking over what they call the Ministry of Health position in Romania, after the guy resigned from all of the missteps, seems like a good guy and does a very good job. So you may want to check that out. It's all subtitled, guys, but it is fantastic. The Collective on Hulu, Tim. Collective on Hulu. That's the subtitled one I was telling you about. So
I'm going to have to go back and watch some of this, guys. I'm so sorry. I got a phone call. I really needed to take it. So thank y'all for your patience.
No. Okay, so these are the things. I'll give you the rundown. I went over all my stuff already, but I'll give you the rundown real quick. The Nevers on HBO Max. It's Victorian London meets X-Men. Boom. That's what it is. So if your wife likes Downton Abbey, but you like X-Men, you should watch it. Invincible on Amazon Prime is a cartoon that's kind of like Justice League, but more bloody, kind of a more adult version of that. So if you like Justice League cartoons, you'll like that. The Moody's is a sitcom on Fox with Dennis Leary. Has several other actors in it. It's very funny. Yeah, so if you like the Moody's is fun. WeWork documentary on Hulu, Tim. You should watch that for sure. It talks about WeWork, or the making and breaking of a $47 billion unicorn. That's the name of the documentary. But you should watch that because it talks about how WeWork went from a $47 billion company to like a $500,000 company. So
that's on Netflix?
Yeah, Hulu.
Hulu. Okay, I'll look that up.
Now, there's a mini documentary about it on HBO Max, but it's not as good. Watch the one on Hulu. Okay. So, and then the last thing I talked about, Tim, was Collective, and that is a subtitled Romanian film about a fire at a concert venue and all of the people that got hurt from that and then ended up dying in the hospital, and why they died in the hospital. It's about the Romanian, basically government-run healthcare system and all the corruption that's in it. And it is fantastic. Okay. You have to read subtitling the entire time. But, and I told them, I don't know what you think about government-run healthcare, but this does not put a good light on it. Okay, I mean, just in general. Okay. So, I mean, if you're an advocate for that, you may not want to watch. But if you're not, but it's very, and like I said, I don't know if we probably wouldn't have those problems here because there's a lot of places who do government-run healthcare fine. Canada's one of them. But this puts a really dark light on that. But it's still a very good documentary, and you should watch it because it's a very good documentary. So. Okay, so that's all I've got. Let me go real quick. I think we're done. YouTube Punk has some stuff. The Boys Season 2, I think, is going to be coming out soon. They just wrapped Cobra Kai Season 4, Tim, but I don't know when we're going to see that on Netflix. And then YouTube Punk says, what about the documentary of the lady who filmed her life in the 90s? Is that one of the ones you watched?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, well, let's go over yours real quick.
Okay. You want to, since I'm asleep since last night, do you have my list in front of you?
I do. So the first thing I have is Lucy, the human chimp.
Okay. That was a very, very, way more interesting documentary than I thought it would be. About a lady who, what happened was they found a chimp that was only a couple days old. And I guess the mother had died, and this couple raised it as a human. So, in other words, that had not been done before. I think this was like the early 70s. And they raised her, put diapers on her, fed her people food, took her places with them. And then so they were thinking that if you got it from infancy, that it would pretty much be a human. It wouldn't know I'm a monkey or an ape. And but the opposite happened. At one point, she entered adulthood and become violent and really, tear stuff up, just stuff. In other words, the wild animal eventually came out. Well, at that point, they had a young college student at the University of Oklahoma come in, and she would take care, and she taught sign language to it and stuff like that, and basically befriended the ape. And so what they determined was, we're going to set this ape free. But you can't just set her out. She doesn't know how to forage for food. She's used to eating peanut butter and, opening Pringles cans and stuff like that. And so she agrees, I'll go out there for a couple weeks and live with her in the wild and kind of teach her some stuff. And that couple of weeks turned into about 8 years. This lady lived and with 10 other apes and tried until it took about that long to really get them. But all of them, even when they would get older, would try to kill her, or they would go for dominance. It's a very interesting documentary on that. Very,
very interesting. I saw it on HBO Max, but I have not seen it yet. So
yeah, well, check it out. I think it's a lot more interesting than I thought it would be. Again, the more I watched it, the more I couldn't stop watching it.
Okay, the next one I have on my list. These are on Netflix, guys. These next three: Murder Among the Mormons. I saw this one, Tim. Haven't watched it.
Okay, that is another interesting story, kind of about greed and how it takes you over. Evidently, a guy he gets involved in church history, like the original transcripts of the Mormon church and stuff. And he becomes obsessed with finding artifacts, things like that. And then comes find out he might be even willing to kill for some of these things. Or, of course, there's the word murder in there. And then, is he forging them? Are they actually real? Stuff like that. You'll find that very interesting also.
Okay. Well, that was on my list. I actually saw that one. So I put it on my list. I haven't watched it, though. So, worth watching?
Yes. Very, very, very good.
Okay. Next one I have is This is a Robbery, the World's Biggest Art Heist.
Yes. That was about in Boston, where some guys came in to a well-known art museum, and they came in the middle of the night, and they stole some paintings. And but it goes into depth. Was it an inside job? We're talking about paintings that would be worth $500 million or maybe $1 billion or more today. Paintings by famous artists and stuff. One of them is a boat, the most famous one, a boat, rough seas and Jesus in there. And I think it was, I want to say Galileo or somebody, one of these famous artists. But it's really about what happened to them and what would you do? I mean, just because let's say you stole the Mona Lisa, okay? You got a Mona Lisa. I could come over and look at it, we could play some games, but what are you going to do with it? Everybody in the world knows this painting. So how is there a market for something that's so popular, or who would buy it? And so it goes into kind of breaking it down, like where it might be today. And they try to track people that, that was a mafia guy and he sold it to so-and-so and now he's dead, so we can tell you the truth. And they try to track it down and try to find it. They can't find these paintings yet to this day, although somebody out there probably has them.
Sure. And then the last one I have is The Sons of Sam, Descent into Darkness.
Okay. You're familiar with the Son of Sam murders. David Berkowitz, famous serial killer. Basically he was caught red-handed, and he had in his car was a gun, that 44 Magnum that was used in several murders. It looked like police departments, like we solved it. Evident, there was no doubt this guy was involved. And one of the reporters was like, I just don't think he could have done it alone, I think. And so he began to basically a lifelong quest of, I don't think that this happened alone, and proves that that there was, that's why it's called Sons of Sam, that there was more, and it ties all the way into satanic cults, reaching all the way to Charles Manson's part of it. He proves this huge thing, and basically does all this proof, and basically by that time it took him 10 years, nobody really cared. It was like, that was the sad part, was like he proved all this stuff and did all this quest. But anyway, another very, very interesting, especially if you grew up in the 70s and heard about Son of Sam and the murders. It talks a lot about those and how that they caught him. So that part's interesting, but it's also interesting to know that it was a much bigger plot that probably still exists today. Certain cults and stuff that were involved and probably still are involved in some ways.
Interesting. Okay, well, that's all I got. Did you have anything else besides those?
No, I don't think so. It's already getting pretty late, and I've still got phone calls to make.
Okay. Well, I will mention one more thing.
Everybody hanging with us.
Yeah, I will mention one more thing, and I watched this just last night, and that is there's a documentary series on HBO Max called Generation Hustle, and the first episode is about these young people who, two of them are photographers and like one of them's a videographer, but basically they get hustled into flying to I forget where, Indonesia, and spending their own money to do all this different stuff and thinking that they're going to get reimbursed, and they never do.
Wow.
And how they got tricked into it. That's the first episode. The second episode is on WeWork, Tim, and don't watch that one at all. Watch the documentary on Hulu instead. But the first episode is really good. It's called Generation Hustle. It's a series. It's a documentary series, and each one's on a different topic. So Generation Hustle on HBO Max. So I like the first one. I don't know if I'm gonna like any of the rest of them. I watched part of the WeWork one, but like I said, it basically covered everything that was in the Hulu doc. So don't necessarily need to watch that one, but the rest of them are good. So are we done?
I think we're done.
I think everybody else went to sleep, Tim. It's just us here now. Everybody in the live chat is we put them all to bed, so they're probably sleeping, listening to all of this, and it's always nice when you can put people to bed with your voice there, Tim. So there we go. ASMR or whatever it is, AMSR, whatever. So Tim, it looks like our next live show will be in 4 weeks, and that's going to be on June 3rd. Is that what you have?
Wow. Uh-huh.
So we'll have the whole month of May, and then we'll have June 3rd. We'll be back with the next live show. We hope you guys will join us then. Thank you guys for staying tuned to the after show and listening to me ramble while Tim was off taking a phone call. I think that was the most entertaining part of the whole thing. So next month, me and Tim will hopefully be in the same room together, and Tim will get a chance to play the Attack from Mars Arcade 1-Up Pinball Machine, and so we'll have our reviews on that. But I think other than that, that's it. Tim, you need to get some sleep between now and June 3rd.
I need to get some sleep right now.
Yeah.
I got to get up about 4 o'clock.
Okay, well, you go get some sleep. I'm going to do the same, and we'll meet back here on June 3rd, okay?
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next month. Take care. Be safe out there. Go get a vaccine, and we'll see you June. Bye, guys.